Hey there, and welcome back to the HQ. Today, we are going to be reacting to how a LEGO collection unraveled a corrupt Mormon mafia. The full saga of Reckless Ben versus BAM, which of course is bricks and minifigs. So, I've seen some stuff floating around about this on Twitter about a super expensive LEGO collection just kind of being stolen and going missing. And like something about like corrupt police officers, and this is already like interesting to me because like I don't know if you know, but I like Legos. I haven't really messed with Legos in a while just because I've just been kind of priced out of the hobby being totally legit, and I was always more of a Bionicle girl than I was Legos specifically. But I do love Lego sets, and I really want that Death Egg Robot Lego set, and that Bio Lizard Lego set, all the Sonic Lego sets, so I can just buy a shelf and stick them up there on my wall and stuff. It's for the, for my shelf to precariously collapse and get smashed in Legos in my sleep. But yeah, I've never heard of something this crazy being derived by just Legos. So let's jump into this and see how wild this saga gets, shall we?
LEGO is a hobby that is beloved throughout the entire world.
Oh, very much so.
It was seen as something that was specifically targeted towards children. But many
not
of the
anymore.
Kids that initially
not with the money you have to pay for them.
Growing up are now adults. And so today we can safely say that it has become a hobby for all ages.
Thank you,
YouTube.
YouTube.
It's more successful than ever, and it's just seen as this innocent little pastime that anyone from any background or age can enjoy.
As long as you have a six-figure salary.
In the theft of over $200,000.
I wouldn't be surprised.
A very suspicious police raid in which the officers were armed to the teeth with assault rifles, multiple illegal arrests, the direct participation of Patreon CEO, and the public reveal of Mormon Mafia-style tactics that were colluding with one of the most corrupt police organizations in the country. I mean...
What? Excuse me? What do you mean? We have like corrupt police raids, arrests, all colluding with like the church, like with the Mormon church, and like the CEO of Patreon being involved. Okay.
This was such massive news that you could find it on multiple different national news channels. What the YouTuber Reckless Ben uncovered was an unprecedented level of systemic corruption aimed at the average person to silence them, to intimidate.
YouTuber Reckless Ben joins Jesse Weber live to discuss his attempts to recover an Oregon family Star Wars Lego collection, effort that landed him in a legal jam.
Very intently. If you've been on the internet for like the last month, you would have most likely seen or heard of this, the Lego situation. It has gone absolutely viral.
The Lego situation. Holy shit.
At the same time, though, this is a very complex and highly fluid situation that's being updated constantly. Most videos are served in chunks, and there's not one that explains everyking from start to finish.
And of course, Papa Mugen is going to give this to us, isn't he?
Make a video to talk about it.
Thank you very much, Mugen.
Without further ado,
get all of it. Get all the greasy, yummy deets.
In life,
sponsor.
I have a simple philosophy. I love free shit. And
well,
you know which
don't we
game
all
agrees with this philosophy? Duet Night Abyss.
Is this going to be another
game that stripped all gacha mechanics out from its gameplay right before release? No gacha system, no stamina system, and the only monetization is cosmetics. There are no pay-to-win elements. Like this angel skin for Flora, one of the two new characters coming out this update alongside Hilda. And what's even better is that they're releasing their 1.4 update with a free character selector, a free weapon selector, and countless generous events. Allowing you to get another character selector as well as character skins for free. But that's not all.
Okay, so then like the characters are so it's only cosmetic stuff. So do you just like unlock the characters? Like how does that work?
And that's without mentioning that they're adding a new guild system with guild missions, channels, and an exclusive guild shop. So if that sounds interesting to you, then make sure to get the game today using the link in the description and the pinned comment to claim over 60 free weave pulls.
It's always nice whenever they leave behind like predatory monetization systems.
This video.
It's very nice.
Norway. a Scandinavian country.
Oh, we're going
Sweden. In geopolitical conversations, the only thing really
it's because Norway is where Legos come from. Okay.
Resources, most notably oil. In fact, Norway makes so much money from the sale of its natural resources that it's actually a country in profit. It actually makes money. And so, in the year 1998, this would lead them to come up with a
Also, thank you for the subscription with Prime, Portal.
And invest it, whether it be stocks, projects, bonds, you name it.
Good morning, Portal.
Use this money for the welfare of their citizens. It was an amazing idea.
Imagine that. Imagine that. A country using all of their profits for the welfare of their citizens instead of lining the pockets of billionaires. Imagine that.
In fact, if you were to liquidate the entire sovereign wealth fund of Norway and divide it equally among its citizens, then every single one of them would receive over 350,000 USD. Isn't that insane?
That is nutty, dog.
And quickly take notice. You'd have many of them follow the same philosophy, whether it be Australia, Singapore, or even more recently, Saudi Arabia, through their public investment fund, investing in anything from video games to Mr. Beast. But hey, it's wonderful to see these countries actually use their money somewhat responsibly.
Oh God.
But what if instead of a country,
Saudi Arabian Mr. Beast
come up with the same idea? At first, it might sound silly to even suggest that.
You know, with Saudi Arabia being a primary investor in buying Electronic Arts, I really hope they don't gut or cancel Mass Effect, the new Mass Effect game coming out. I really hope not. I'm a big Mass Effect fan, and I'd appreciate it so much, Mr. Saudi Prince, who has a very public Steam account, if you would please DM me on Steam and be like, yeah, we're not going to cancel Mass Effect 4. I promise. Trust. Please. Just hit me up. Just hit me up, bro.
But then you realize that the Mormons did exactly that. The Mormon religion is headed by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And as of 2023, the church's net worth is estimated to be around $265 billion, $250 billion owned by a religion.
This is why... This is why I always have, like, I have some problems with just the blanket tax exemption status of, like, religious organizations. Because it's like, what do we do about these religious organizations that are just swimming in capital? All of it, all of it untaxable. What do we do about that? Like, whenever you have, like, churches the size of Holiday Inns, then, like, you clearly have a problem go on our hands.
How the hell does this even happen? Well,
yeah, enlighten me, please.
Thanks to tithing. This has been a thing for a long time, and it pretty much involves a Mormon giving away 10% of what he earned during the year to the Church of the Latter-day Saints. I guess you can call it some sort of a religious tax. Now, they say it's not mandatory. And yeah, technically, no one's really going to knock on
they
your
are
door
straight up just taking heavenly tributes. This is like some...
shunned. People will probably not really want to interact with you.
It's like, oh yeah, you don't pay, you're going to get kicked out. This is literally how the world government operates in One Piece. This is literally like heavenly tribute to the celestial dragons type shit. What the hell?
You'll be isolated. But more importantly, you will not have access to Mormon temples. You see, Mormon temples are these beautiful structures.
Imagine joining a religion that's pay to play. Imagine that.
Specific criteria, even if you're invited there to like see someone else's wedding. One of those very strict requirements is the fact that you've been paying your tithe, your 10%. If you haven't been doing that, then you will never enter the temple. This is really important because in order to access the highest level in heaven, you have to get married in one of these temples. And if you can't do that, well, the elevator to the highest level is simply not going to work.
It's a straight up scam. It's a straight up scam. This is how
the church has been able to rack up so much capital to invest. In 2026, it's estimated that their net worth is now
Hey Jake Rom, we're doing good. We're reacting to this this video here.
Than almost every other.
We're watching this video here about the Lego scandal, and somehow we've started off with how the Mormon religion is just like a giant Ponzi scheme. Holy shit!
Or a Christian sect.
I'm sure that's gonna get me. I'm sure that's gonna irritate some people, but
they hold more assets than
holy
most
hell
countries on the planet produce in GDP. But to be fair, they don't just take from their people; they also give back. For example, BYU is regarded as the Mormon college. This is where Mormons go to study higher education, and if you meet
Brigham
the
Young
criteria of
University,
being a good Mormon, then the church pays 70% of your tuition.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you're a good Mormon.
Okay? I mean, look at how many assets they hold across the United States of America. They have office spaces,
Jesus
residential,
Christ.
retail, agricultural, commercial, you name it. There's not a single state they don't do business in, okay? But if you look at where their assets are most concentrated in the entire
Utah.
country, then you'd probably want to zoom in here. This is the state of Utah.
Yep.
And they practically own that state.
Yep.
This isn't a conspiracy. It's simply the truth.
Oh yeah, Mormons have basically had their roots in the state of Utah for centuries. Like, it's where the religion started. Like,
you see, Mormonism would be founded in the 1800s by the Mormon prophet. He would successfully convert quite a few people to Mormonism, but many other Americans were not really so down with his ideas that conflicted directly with their religions. So, in classic American fashion, he got shot.
Of course.
People to go in exile, leaving the United States and going to northern Mexico, which at the time still covered places like Utah, California, etc. They would kick out whichever natives were living there, and they would naturally build up a massive city by the name of Salt Lake City. Later, the US would take over this part of Mexico, and the Mormons would be integrated into American society.
Yeah, like that, like this whole area, Utah, Idaho, this whole section is like all Mormonism.
Well, first off, it's because you're watching a Mugen video. But more
of course,
importantly, this leads me to
it wouldn't be a Mugen video without crazy tangents.
By the name of Bricks and Minifigs, who just so happens to be based in Utah.
Of course.
This is a company that is a Lego reseller, but it doesn't sell brand new sets. It's focused on aftermarket Legos, ones that were used already. If you have old Legos, you could sell it directly to them, or you can buy some.
Okay, I see where this is going.
However, in 2018, Ammon McNeff, who just so happened to be
of course,
came from Utah and also attended
He's
BYU,
a Mormon BYU alumni.
States, acquired the company with his brother. He would move the company headquarters immediately to Utah. But look, to Ammon's credit, this was a very highly rated chain of stores. In fact, after acquiring the company, he would grow it like crazy. In 2018, it would have a handful of stores, and by 2026, it would have over 300. It'd be a mix of direct stores, but also franchisee stores.
So how deep does the corruption go?
Anyone could become a franchisee. Their franchising model was very straightforward. It was similar to fast food franchises like McDonald's.
Are you required to give a tithing for this too?
Right? But all it took was really finding a good location, researching your audience, sourcing your own inventory, and sharpen your business.
It smells like a scalper in here. I smell you. I smell that, Jake. I do.
What I do want to do though is highlight point 3, which is sourcing your own inventory. When you become a franchisee,
this is gonna be. I see how this is gonna be.
Everything. The only thing you're really borrowing from them is their logo and reputation, and for that you pay them a percentage of your sales.
Okay, yeah, of course.
When it comes to the actual inventory in the store, though, this is fully your responsibility, and you own that. Bricks and Minifigs will not be sending you any product or anything. So with the CEO's rapid expansion and this very profitable franchisee business model, by 2026, Bricks and Minifigs would become worth over $400 million.
Damn.
It was very impressive.
Wow, they got really big,
also attract many people from many different backgrounds, including, but not limited to, Crystal. She would apply for the franchisee program with Bricks and Minifigs and be approved. Her store would end up being located in the state of Oregon, more specifically in the town of Salem. And at some point,
Salem, Oregon.
During the year of 2023, she'd be approached by a man named Brian Mansell. You see, Brian had a dad who was now in his 80s and who had decided around 20 plus years prior to invest his money in a more out-of-the-box asset class, Legos. Today, you hear people always talking about where you should invest your money, and it's usually always about stocks or bonds or commodities.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's people that think they know the stock market, but they don't actually know the stock market and don't know how to follow. And they just see number go up and they don't know when the number is going to immediately come back down. Like, it happened with the dot-com bubble. It's happening now with the AI bubble. It's going to happen with SpaceX stock because it's a space company that used to be semi-profitable that is now unprofitable because they merged SpaceX with XAI, and now it is completely unprofitable because for every $1 XAI makes, they're losing $2. Like actual metric. There is an entire Cold Fusion video about this. Go watch it. Excellent YouTuber. Go is fantastic with what he does and talking about like the financial world and technology and stuff like that. 100% go watch it. It is going to be an absolute cluster when the SpaceX stock inevitably crashes. There's a reason why the S&P 500 did not let them join up on there.
But back then, in the early 2000s, people had just gone through the dot-com bubble. Confidence in the stock market was at all-time lows.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure this somewhat contributed to the decision that Brian's dad took in investing his life savings in Legos, but not just any Legos. It would be limited edition Star Wars Legos. And if you don't know much about how Lego works, well, they don't typically recreate their sets.
18,000 euros.
That had come out in the early 2000s, and
Holy
that was that.
hell.
They were sold out. They didn't make any more. Brian's dad understood this very well and knew that in the future there would be incredible demand over these rare sets. And so he bought 780 sets and 1,200 minifigures over those years. 2 of those sets would be the Lego Star Wars Cloud City set. And as you can see, I'm on StockX right now. The lowest offer for one of these sets is
the lowest offer,
euros.
18,000 euros.
Jaws on the floor right now. I'd say don't get too excited, because while yes, the lowest offer is quite high, this is not a liquid market. One look at the market data and you would see that. One sold in 2022, one sold in 2023, and the last sale was May 2026 at 10,000 euros. Selling just one of these bad boys was pretty much like selling a house. Okay?
Oh,
it doesn't happen overnight. And when you have
you got to take your time in that.
Sets and 1,200 minifigures, you probably need to hire people in order to sell all of them effectively.
Oh, yeah.
This is why Brian and his dad would make the decision to go to Crystal's store in Salem, Oregon. That way, she can sell them on their behalf. But seeing that all these sets and minifigures were like around $200,000 and Crystal was responsible for her own inventory, she couldn't just flat out buy all of it, right? It's like a massive down payment for a mortgage.
Yeah,
so what they would do instead is sign an agreement together. More specifically, one that involves consignment. This means that Brian and his dad would still own these Legos. They would be their property. However, they would be given to Crystal and her store. They would be stored for them, they would be sold for them, and in return, Crystal would take a cut. They agreed on a 65% to 35%
yeah,
split.
that makes sense. I mean,
35% and Brian receiving 65% in the form of monthly payments whenever they would actually sell anything.
I mean, yeah, that all makes sense. I mean, like setting up like a payment structure and like basically like having them there housed on display, and when they actually sell, the store takes a 35% cut, and then the rest of it gets doled out to the one who sold it to the store in the first place. And just setting out in like installments like that, that makes sense. And certain that's business.
This agreement would be made around the end of 2023, right? More specifically, maybe around end of October, early November. And as we can see on this Facebook post by the Salem store, they were very excited, saying that they were going to display one of the largest, most valuable privately held collections of Star Wars Lego in the world. That it would even be open to journalists and the public for photos before they would go on sale. And more importantly,
and you're advertising it on Facebook, of course.
Well over $200,000. Hey, you know what? Things were going.
Thank you very, very much for the sub, Hat Cadbury.
For certain sets or minifigures, and she would at the end of every
very
month,
happy 6 months.
Payments to Brian. It was a wonderful deal that benefited both parties. But
yeah, this is still going on.
Now, that amazing status quo would not last indefinitely.
It never lasts. Status quo never lasts.
Would find herself kicked out of her own store with no access to her inventory, and Brian would find himself with no trace of his collection against a corporation that was threatening legal action if he asked any questions.
Why was she kicked out of her
beginning of the end?
Why was she kicked out of her own store?
1 year after having signed the consignment agreement with Brian, Crystal would receive a job offer abroad with her husband. But instead of just closing down the store, she wanted to sell it back to Bricks and Minifigs Corporate. So on the 14th of November...
Hold on, does she got some Lego Mando Grogu earrings? that that just like mystified me for a second. Just looking at those earrings for a second. It's like, is that the Mando and Grogu? Like, that cannot be comfortable. That can like, I don't have earrings myself. I'm too much of a pansy to get my ears pierced. Maybe someday. But imagine having Legos dangling from your ears.
She would contact corporate and tell them, hey, listen, I have a job abroad. I'm planning to leave. How can I sell this store back to you guys? On the same day, Bricks and Minifigs would send a representative of theirs by the name of Brandon Best, this guy right here. And according to Crystal, he would seize the location immediately with no notice or no process that is actually required under their franchise agreement. He wouldn't even allow her to make inventory, see like what everything she has is worth, so she can actually sell it back to corporate. This is a very important detail because the inventory is owned by the franchisee. We can see this on the franchisee.
That's how the that's how the
on the Bricks and Minifigs website. But
that's how the whole agreement works.
One of her main concerns was how the most valuable aspects of her inventory were Brian's collection. So she asked Brandon in a very straightforward way, hey, what the hell is going to happen to things like consignment agreements? And here's what he would say.
These are ones that he has not been paid his percentage yet. And if I don't have the tickets, I won't know how much I need to pay him.
That's a business thing and not necessarily yours. He's taking on the business, he takes on all that consignment liability.
So this was Brandon, sent over by corporate saying, hey, you don't got to worry about any of this. The person taking over the franchise will handle this because this is business stuff. And the only reason we have this right now is because Crystal's security cameras were recording that night and she kept this footage. However, shortly after this, when she would push back and say, hey, I have to do inventory, you can't just take the store in one day, it goes against the agreement, she claims that she was threatened with the police and other legal procedures that would have made her broke.
Okay, like, this is not their store. This is a franchise. She is the legal owner of that store. If she wanted to, she could just terminate the agreement, take the Bricks and Minifigs logo down, and just name it just like something else. So they can't just come in and proclaim ownership of the store. All they're doing as a franchisor is essentially licensing out their name. Like, it's like when Rare made a bunch of Donkey Kong games. Just because they made Donkey Kong games does not mean they own Donkey Kong. It's like when literally when Microsoft bought Rareware, they literally thought that they owned the rights to Donkey Kong now. It's not how that works. They are licensing their name and their logo out to a franchise. They do not own the store. They are like, this is coming from somebody who's worked at like at like franchised fast food restaurants before. So I know how like franchisement works, and it goes both ways. So that way, like if like a franchise does something messed up, like Burger King foot lettuce or something, and that way the corporate office can be like, hey, that's a franchise location. We don't claim responsibility. That's something to sort out with the franchise. Like, we're looking into it, but that is the franchise problem, not us. And it's like, so to come in and just immediately proclaim, oh yeah, this franchise, this company, this building, this store that we had absolutely nothing in as far as building, and only license the name out, it's ours now. Yeah.
So she left, and she lost the store that same day. She'd notify Brian about this, and Brian would of course contact the store, and when he did, surprise, surprise, it would be as if amnesia struck the town of Salem. Not a single person in that store knew what he was talking about. What Star Wars set? What consignment? What is that? We know nothing about any of this. Even though there's a video from December 2024, 1 month after Crystal was forced out, that shows a massive Star Wars collection still present in the store. Additionally, his consignment contract...
if he has a copy of the contract and his shit's still on the wall, how are they going to lie about that? How are they going to just lie about that? Bold-faced lie. And pretend like, oh no, We don't know what you're talking about. Like, what agreement?
Track wasn't written by ChatGPT, okay? It did have a transfer of rights clause, so if anyone would take over this franchise, they would also take responsibility for his collection and would have to keep it going. But that didn't matter. He was ghosted at this point and couldn't reach the store. He couldn't even look at the inventory.
Yeah,
He was
Cadbury,
banned.
it was an easy
So at this
example
point,
for me.
Brian had become desperate. This was what his father had left him. This was practically his inheritance. At first, he was told that no such thing exists, no agreement, no consignment exists, and then after that, he would just get ghosted. And so out of desperation, he would reach out to a YouTube channel by the name of Collecting Weekly. This is where you'd have multiple LEGO content creators get involved here to try and get his LEGO collection back. The video's description would say that his collection was mishandled and sold without proper authorization following a reported change in store ownership.
A nice mid-size like collector's channel.
You'd even see Brian himself in the comments saying, "Can't thank you enough for getting this out there. We are going to continue to go after this deal in any way possible. I will answer any questions."
God, I bet
Thanks,
they
guys.
like.
However,
it gets worse.
Really
it gets worse. I mean,
their help would stop
we're
abruptly.
less than 20 minutes into a nearly 2-hour video, so I got a feeling it's going to get worse.
You know, Bricks and Minifigs, which is a pretty big company who probably has way more resources than we can, you know, really put up a fight against.
Most certainly. Most certainly.
Around 77,000 subscribers. It doesn't even hold that much influence, right? That much virality.
Yeah, I mean, 77K subs
by this massive $400 million corporation because of what they were trying
to do. That's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, I've got like 2.5K, which I'm very happy about, by the way. Like, if I ever get to 10K subs, I'll be extremely happy about that. Just putting that out there. So if you're not subscribed when you're watching this video, hit that subscribe button and help a ratty out. But yeah, almost 78K subs, nothing to sneeze at. That is still a big channel. It's not like doing Charlie numbers, but it is a big channel. Like, it's nearly a silver play button.
But of course, I'm assuming if any of you watching right now, right, if you're trying to do a good deed and a $400 million company sends you a letter saying, "Hey, we're going to screw your life up," you'd probably back off too. But you know who wouldn't back off? The YouTuber by the name of Reckless.
Oh, now that's a big channel. That's a big channel.
2025, and he would promise
1.23 million subscribers.
His Lego collection
now that's some big numbers.
Heartbreaking story.
Some big numbers.
This is when Ben would get involved in this drama. One of the first things that Reckless Ben would do would be very, very simple. He would just go to the store in Oregon. He would walk
2019
in and he would ask about the Star Wars Legos that belong to Brian. That's it.
It's been going on for that long?
From the store manager would be very interesting.
Jesus.
As if she was pre-programmed, as if she looked out for specific keywords, and once she heard them, things would escalate very quickly. Watch it for yourself.
Hi, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
It's pretty good. So basically my friend said that you guys have some of his Legos, I think, and he told me to come here and see if I could pick them up.
Who's your friend?
I think they're Brian's Legos. It's like a big like Star Wars collection set, I think.
You could go ahead and leave now.
Really?
So you could go ahead and leave now, or I will call the police for harassment.
Well, I'm not harassing you.
No, you are. Hi.
Dude, how insane is that? Like, what kind of reaction is that? Yo, I'm here for my friend's Legos. Which ones? The Star Wars ones? Leave now, or I will call the police for harassment.
God, they really honed in. They really, like, honed in tight. Like the friggin' Skyrim guards. Like pulling up. Like, straight up, just pulling up. Like, you're breaking some crimes in Tamriel, just being like, "Stop! You violated the law! Pay the fine or serve your sentence." God damn. They really just pulled up.
It's like, whoa, how did we get here? Chill. And she wasn't kidding. She would actually call the police, straight up saying she's being harassed. However, as the police were on their way, he would talk with her a bit more. She would deflect all this by saying, "Hey, this is a corporate matter. I'm not involved in this. I'm just the store manager." This was interesting because prior to this,
this is
Ben would actually go all the way to Utah to go to the Bricks and Minifigs.
This ain't a corporate matter. That's a franchise, isn't it? Or did the corporation decide to claim it?
Go talk to them.
Yeah, so they're wishy-washying around.
Found himself in this never-ending loop. The store manager would tell him, "Hey, go to corporate, and corporate would tell him, go to the store. In other words, no one was taking
nobody wants to take responsibility for it. Like, it's a ticking time bomb. They're just trying to sue it. They're just trying to, like, time it out.
The supposed new franchise owner of the store, and Ben would get an opportunity to speak with him for the first time. Here's how the conversation would go, and again, like many things during the saga, it would also escalate fairly quickly. Watch.
Are you the owner of the Bricks and Minifig store?
Yeah, why? What you got?
So basically, I just wanted to get some of the Legos back that you guys still have. I think I'm looking for the clone turbo tank.
Why do you think you would be entitled to our inventory?
Why would
it's
you
not
be
your
entitled
inventory
to our inventory? What makes you think that you can access this highly classified information just because you claim that your friend
I hope all of these people, I hope this winds up like everybody in jail or getting sued.
What's his? He owns the Legos.
Huh? He doesn't own the Legos.
Well, yeah, we have a contract. He does own them.
No, bro, are you an idiot? Are you stupid?
Oh boy.
Josh, the police have showing up right now.
Are you stupid?
He should have been like, no, but I'm currently recording and I have a 1.28 million subscriber YouTube channel and this is about to become a very big problem for you. So I suggest handing him over. Like if you have a big platform like that, you're going out of your way to deal with these people on a God complex trip, really humble them. Like, I'm talking, like, make them realize that the reason they act like this is because they have a small penis and they're afraid of it. Like, make them realize just how little of a fish they are and that you could collapse this entire corporation if they kept on with this bullshit.
But bro, are you an idiot? You must be some sort of dumbass if you think you can just come here and get your friend's Legos. Ben would shortly afterwards talk to the police officer and would be given a trespassing order, which meant that if he ever stepped foot in the store ever again, he'd end up in handcuffs and in jail. When I said things escalated quickly, I wasn't
Gotta love corrupt
This was
piggies.
his first visit at the store, and within less than 10 minutes, he could never enter it again, otherwise he'd be facing jail time. So what the hell just happened? But let's back up. Who was this person that Ben was talking to on the phone?
Oh,
That
we
would
get the
be
tea.
Joshua Johnson.
Oh, he looks like a chode.
Oh,
he looks like a dickhead. He's a
kicked out.
This guy looks like
We're
a
gonna see
dickhead.
way more of Joshua throughout the saga, so don't worry, you won't miss him.
Like, bald head, thinning facial hair, scrunched up brow, black and red flannel, khaki pants. Oh, this guy's a dickhead. Oh, this guy's a douchebag. Oh, God.
The other franchise
Backwards
owner
cap,
involved here
Under Armour
is Brandon
sweatshirt.
Bass,
Oh,
the guy who personally kicked Crystal out. And sure, but don't worry, consignments are handled by corporate. Clearly not, as we just saw.
Clearly
These two
not.
became the
Very
new
clearly
co-owners
not.
of this franchise after Crystal had left. But hey, Ben managed to reach the top of the food chain early on. When corporate was telling him, hey, this is the store's issue, he also got to talk to the CEO briefly. He would ask about the missing Legos, and the CEO would deny their existence.
The
Ben
CEO
believe him and say,
would
"Hey, listen,
deny
you're
the
lying to me
existence.
right now."
Oh.
The CEO would say no. Ben would want to re-emphasize, listen, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And by this point, Ammon, the CEO, wasn't interested in talking anymore. Thing is, though, I don't think he understood what the hard way meant.
Oh.
With the guy who's called Reckless Ben.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
gonna find out.
Oh, a
He
guy
was simply
whose
fooling
name
no one.
is
When you went on
Reckless.
social media, you saw the store very proudly displaying the Star Wars set. Look at this community note. These items are stolen. Like, no one
These
was fooled.
getting
And so
noted.
Reckless Ben would get to work. The first thing he would do is disrupt the business. But he would
Of
do
course.
it in a way that keeps him out of legal trouble. This was about making them understand that he's here to stay, that he was serious. He would set up a table outside the business selling merch, and that merch would be pretty much calling the store scammers. When the manager
Oh,
would notice him out there,
fantastic.
she'd think, oh hell yeah, this guy has a trespass notice. I can call the police and put him in jail. This is when Ben would go to hide somewhere and bring a friend of his dressed up the same exact way as him. His
my
friend
God.
would also get a trespass notice, but no one would end up in jail. Now, yes, one could call this vigilantism.
Oh, that is
Some would even
hilarious.
call it
They're
useless,
straight up
maybe
doing like
even
Bella
illegal.
Twins
It was
stuff.
definitely a gray area. But the logic here was
Oh,
to
that's
ignore them
hilarious.
until they gave up and gave back the Legos. That was pretty much
As
it.
you
But
would,
Ben had
as
already
you
moved on
would.
to the second plan, and that would be befriending a store employee. He would jokingly invite her to a cult, and eventually
Oh.
they'd meet up after she was done with her shift. Here she'd reveal some interesting information about Brian.
Oh, we're
as
getting
far as she knew,
inside information. We're getting an insider.
So the store manager and whoever she was working under were lying to her. This was important info because, as I had mentioned earlier, the consignment contract had a transfer of rights clause. Joshua and Brandon were meant to take on the responsibilities that Crystal had signed on to.
Yeah, of course, as you would.
To the employee here that they had. So they were aware of it. So after finding out that even the employees were being lied to,
wow, so everybody's being lied to it.
Joshua's phone number.
Oh.
This is when they would get to have a one-on-one conversation. They would call.
Oh, fantastic.
Joshua would pretend to not know what kind of contract Ben is talking about, so Ben would actually send him the entire PDF.
He sent him the entire
what Josh would have to
consignment agreement.
I didn't sign a contract. I didn't sign that agreement. I didn't agree to anything in that. In order for me to be under contract, I have to sign something.
Or you had to take it over from the previous owner, right?
Nope, that's not how the law works.
That's in the contract.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's how the law works. Yes.
So
if that's how the law works, then sue me for it.
Okay.
You don't just want to give the Legos back, like?
Sue me. Let's go to court. I'm calling the police right now.
Okay.
And you guys are going to be arrested for harassment.
Do you feel threatened right now?
Do you feel threatened?
Joshua was feigning ignorance on purpose, and as you can see, he was taunting them to sue him.
Oh, that smile.
If to sue Joshua over some business contract, this would end up in civil court. The reason why Joshua wants this outcome is because he can use the company resources to financially bully Ben and anyone who dares to sue him by making the case as long as financially burdensome as possible.
Oh,
Ben
God.
would tell Brian about this. Brian would say, yeah, I mean, I've been through this. I spoke with a couple of different attorneys and they told me the same thing. If you sue them, they will financially ruin you. So he gave up on the idea. But Ben wasn't called Reckless Ben for just no reason.
You don't get the name Reckless for no reason.
He came up with a plan to have Bricks and Minifigs sue him instead.
Oh!
How would he do that? All right, listen. Focus with me here. He would make a company called We Steal From Old People using the same Bricks and Minifigs logo. And he would actually get inspired by the way Bricks and Minifigs work, or at least what he's
that's funny. He starts his own company.
Under his new company that belonged to his friends, and he would do exactly what he did before, becoming a nuisance. He'd set up tables outside of the store with different merch, calling them thieves.
This guy,
and he'd even bring out court papers that were already filled out so that they could
sue him
immediately. When the police would show up to stop his friend from being able to sell this merch, his friend would use the same tactic Bricks and Minifigs have been using. Oh, actually, I'm a franchisee and I can't really do much. This is corporate's decision. Corporate in this case is Ben. And so they couldn't really charge anyone with anything. This was them pretty much baiting Bricks and Minifigs to think, okay,
this is hilarious. He is just rage baiting these dickheads.
After this whole ordeal, Reckless Ben would be able to meet up with the
Look
CEO
at this
again.
guy.
Ammon here is clearly pissed.
He
saying,
is
hey,
tired
listen, this
looking.
harassment style you're conducting yourself in, you're disturbing business. This is not the right way to do things. And so Ben,
my man came up here thinking he can bully some Lego owners. Unbeknownst, he's going to war with Daffy fucking Duck over here, rage baiting him. Just this means war. He is getting into the worst possible scenario, and there's a whole thing. Holy shit. Oh boy. Also, thank you for the follow, Alex Aries VT. Welcome to the HQ.
Ben would explain to him, hey, listen, man, I'm just doing what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Franchises registered in Oregon.
Tit for tat.
When the police are sent with a problem, I just redirect them to another franchisee. And so this was Ammon's reaction once he understood what he was dealing with.
Okay. I get what you're doing. I appreciate that you think you're being very clever.
Oh, very clever.
And that you think that you can do all sorts of fun stuff this way, but it's like you have no business being here. So.
Well, we do have business. We have, like, you guys have a bunch of our Legos.
So look, I think it was finally starting to set in.
Yeah,
to the CEO,
he's realizing what he's dealing with.
Well, yes, it is really funny. To Ben, this wasn't really leading anywhere. The CEO clearly knew what was going on and knew that he was being baited to sue, so he wasn't simply going to do that. And so we move on to the next plan.
Oh,
the raffle strategy.
Oh, the raffle, huh?
You have to follow a very specific set of rules. If you fail to abide by those rules, you don't face civil court. you face criminal court.
Oh.
Ben would figure, well, listen, since these Star Wars sets are held in consignment, this means that Brian still owns them. They're his property. So if we put them
That's
up for a
very
raffle
true.
that costs $1 to enter with random strangers, we can legally do that.
Oh,
and if we go to the store to get that Lego and the manager refuses to give it to us, well, that's criminal. Honestly, I'm not a lawyer, but this guy was actually very smart. Legally speaking,
this is
he holds
actually
up. And so when he went to the store to get the prize,
make
and the manager
sense.
called the police like she always does. The officer talking to Ben actually took it seriously. He was like, wait, like, okay, well, shit, if you know, I saw the contract, it's in consignment. This is an illegal raffle. This is criminal. All right, cool. I'll look into this. Unfortunately, though, one of the other officers would go up to that officer taking it seriously, would whisper something in his ear, and then all of a sudden, the entire demeanor would change. It seemed that these cops were corrupt.
Oh, we got some oinkers, huh?
Holding the law. In fact, what was even crazier here is that this officer whispering things in that other guy's ear would end up taking control of the situation and tell Ben straight up, listen, give this up and we can all walk away. But if you keep going, you'll end up in jail.
First off, we do have the authority to do this raffle, so we are legally
done for the night.
No, it's actually required by you guys to investigate this. It's not civil, it's criminal.
Just so we're talking in circles, right? Yep. No. Do you understand at least what he told you on the...
I don't know, we're talking in circles. That's the first time we got falsifying a raffle.
Good. Just answer my question, please. Do you understand what Officer Bev has explained to you? Kind of what's going to happen, what's going to be the next steps?
I think...
Nope. Yes or no?
No, I'm not understanding.
You don't understand? What part don't you?
Yeah, I was pretty confused on what they were going to arrest me for. I mean, the Fourth Amendment in our Constitution specifically states that the police can't arrest you if they don't have a reason.
Yeah.
I keep asking them for a reason, but they can't.
He's dressed
tell me
like a
anything that I'm
fucking
doing that's
Lego.
illegal. Well, I don't think we broke the law.
What's your opinion? That part doesn't matter.
Oh, this guy's a dickhead.
Because right now, you guys said the law we broke is the falsifying the raffle.
So let's do this. Let's just call it and we'll just go from here, all right, guys?
Guys, we didn't break the law.
Oh,
That's your
this
opinion.
guy's a dickhead.
But we literally didn't. We're not falsifying anything. We have the contract. All right, guys.
I hope
let's
everyone
call it a day.
like.
Let's just...
I would say I hope these cops lost their jobs, but goddamn, a cop can straight up murder somebody in this country, and they would just be transferred to like a different department. Cops don't lose their jobs for anything in this country. Like, qualified immunity needs to go. I'm just saying. A little tangent. Qualified immunity needs to go. Cops should not be like police officers should not be exempt from being treated like criminals, because you're basically saying that a badge and a gun gives you like gives you a get out of jail free card is what they're basically saying.
Let's just go our separate ways and forget any of this happened. Yes, when you pay taxes and the taxes go to the police, this is what you hope for. You hope that they ignore the law and just tell you to leave. And that's exactly what was happening on camera.
Of
So
course.
even though this was
On
a
camera.
genius plan, it would again fail. Ben was back to square one. So his next plan involved actually measuring the sign outside of the store that said buy, sell, trade and replacing it with steal, sell, trade, continuing with his barely legal, slightly illegal antics. But as he was planning to do that, he would actually receive a call from Joshua. And this is where things would start to get pretty interesting. Josh ended up giving me a call.
You guys keep coming to the stores. You park out front. You do fake raffles. You're threatening my business, you moron.
Josh is pretty scared.
Just give us the Legos back.
I am going to end up solving all of the police corruption that's going on. And once that happens,
My man
Josh
got
is no
that
longer
shit
in
on.
civil trouble. He's going to be in criminal trouble. It wasn't a fake raffle. It was a real lottery scheme according to Oregon state law.
Yeah.
And it actually is a Class B felony, up to 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Yeah, the loophole he's been using this entire time, just hiding behind the fact that it's a civil case, isn't going to work for him much longer.
Good deal.
Well, let's not argue that. I don't want to. It's just better to just say, hey.
You can hear the shift in his tone immediately. The sound of his balls receding back up into his gut as he realizes, oh, these guys know the law. The reverse, like the rewind of his puberty hitting, his voice gets shrill and shriveled up because he knows he's got.
definitions of whether it's stolen or not. I don't think, Joey. No, anyways, it's not stolen.
So look, it was clear he was starting to crumble.
He was starting to cry. My man starting to cry. It's like, haha, no theft, no theft. It's theft, though. It is theft. It's 100% theft.
He understood what he was dealing with, and so he finally took them seriously.
If you think it's illegal, why don't you sue me? It's a civil matter. Tell Brian to put his money where his mouth is. Let's go to court.
Okay, you want to do double or nothing?
Double or nothing, right?
If you're wrong, you pay us double. If I'm wrong, I pay you double.
Bro, are you dumb? You're obviously a kid. You don't know how this works.
I think you're scared. Double or nothing. Let's do it.
You're so dumb, bro.
I think you're scared.
Okay, I'm not scared.
Let's do double.
Let's do it. Let's go.
If you
Let's
lose,
do it.
You pay us $400,000. You're scared. You're a chicken.
Chicken.
You're scared. I'm calling you out.
Pussy, pussy, pussy.
You're too scared. You're scared.
You're scared.
Put your money where your mouth is.
This is really where he would realize, dude, oh no, this guy's crazy. Like, I cannot reason.
It's like, we are dealing with the craziest motherfucker on the planet. Holy shit.
With Ben, like,
oh,
my threats, they usually work, but not this time. And so watch him flip a 180 right now.
Are you just gonna be a pussy, or are you gonna...
I'm putting my money where my mouth is. You put your money where your mouth is.
Okay, let me talk.
Okay.
When Brian first came in, we identified anything that was on that list that would have been his, that Amanda didn't sell, and we set it aside. And it's still sitting there. We're happy to give you your stuff back. I just don't want any more damage to this.
Wow. Well, that was easy. It turns out they had everything to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give you the inventory.
So they admit right now, after all that lying, that they have the inventory and they're willing to give it up just to sweep this under the rug.
It's only bringing me harm because you guys are doing wackadoo crap trying to attack us.
Wackadoo crap.
Looks like we won. Brian is finally getting his Legos back.
All right, well, wonderful. If anything, this proves to us that Joshua is a piece of shit. Something that will only get worse throughout the video.
Boy.
Essentially, he had
it's gonna get worse.
Was there.
How much time we got here?
Give it back because they're
We're not even an hour. We still have more than an hour in, huh?
Conditions to give those sets back to Brian. The first thing he wanted from Brian was an apology, a written apology. What is this apology for? Well, it's because of a Facebook post that Brian had made that got like 55 likes.
He wants a written apology. It's like, I'm sorry I called you guys out for stealing my things. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Where he called Bricks and Minifigs thieves. The second condition,
they are thieves, though.
The bad reviews left on Google, and the third condition would be replacing them with good reviews.
Yeah,
now,
remove the bad reviews.
This whole written apology thing. He didn't want to give anything to Joshua that could be used in court if this were to go to court one day.
Yeah, because he wants.
He asked Joshua if a video apology was good
He
enough,
wants
and he said
this to be.
And so then Ben's friend
would
apologize on video, and they'd use AI to put Brian's face on him. Right, so that way this video is inadmissible in court.
Oh, that's
this
fantastic.
Video would get sent to Joshua, and he would have no idea that it's AI. He'd be satisfied with it, but then he would throw on a fourth condition on top of everything he's already asked for.
I want to give it back to him. That's the long and the short of it. We've run me over. I'm good. We got to win Amanda over, right? Apologize to Amanda.
Okay. I guess Brian's just a little worried that you guys are just gonna keep postponing it until.
You're gonna get him. You're gonna get him. I'm not gonna screw you.
You've been screwing this guy for years. That's not who you are.
I swear to God.
That's not who you are.
I have my word. I promise. I swear to God. A Mormon swearing to God. That must mean something in this day and age, right?
Oh, boy.
Here's the problem. At this point, Reckless Ben thinks that this is a trap.
Well, Jake, this isn't the CEO at this point. This is just the franchise. This is just like the store owner, the franchise owner. This isn't the CEO. This is the guy that owns the store itself.
This is because Amanda has shown absolutely zero will to cooperate. She's the one who called the police on Ben within like a minute of him walking into the store. So he thought that, hey, am I being set up here? Is Joshua
It's probably a
trying to send me to
trap.
the store? That way the police show up and arrest me for trespassing.
Yeah, this sounds like it.
He was paranoid, but he had reason to believe this. In any case, he would go to the store because, well, this was the final step, apparently, before Brian could finally get his setback. And as you might have imagined, Amanda, the store manager, would call the police on him immediately. The funny thing is, though, the police wouldn't even show up. They got tired of these antics. They understood this was getting very tricky. And that last altercation they had with them about the raffle, it was clear. They were panicking.
That made them pretty clear that this was,
didn't work.
They were clearly well in over their head.
Didn't get in trouble, but Amanda was not budging. But hey, you know what? Everything worked out in the end because Joshua was satisfied.
Dan, how's it going?
It's good. So we walked in, we were like, hey, we're sorry. We have permission to come back here and like apologize. And she's like, I'm calling the cops. And she like starts.
Josh now realizes that his last-ditch plan to get me arrested, well, that plan didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work.
I'm sorry Amanda did that. Thank you for doing
His
that.
shrill ass voice.
Than to give Brian his family's Legos back.
You apologize, and it's up to them to accept. So let's cross Amanda off that checklist. Let's get this done.
Wow.
Yeah.
It worked out. You know what? Hey, maybe this has a happy ending, right? Well, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't have, obviously, no.
Right? And the video isn't even halfway done.
Oh,
I'm sure by now. Ben would go back.
Yeah, we're not even halfway through.
Calling the store.
We're not even halfway through yet, buddy.
To check if the Legos are ready for Brian to pick them up because Brian's phone number is blocked at the Salem store in Oregon. The person replying to these phone calls would be Brandon Best, the second owner of that store. And every
Mr. Under Armour popped collar piece of shit.
You know, we're getting on it. We're almost done. We're getting there. We just, had a small delay, etc., etc. And this would go on for many, many days until Ben would just straight up get ghosted. No one would be replying to his phone calls anymore, almost as if his number also.
Yeah, this is not going to end well. I'm sure.
Not agreeing to make peace with Ben was truly affecting this, or that's at least what Ben thought. He would try his best to go back and apologize to her, sign a peace treaty with her, whatever. But every single time he
my man tried to sign an armistice,
she would threaten him with police for harassment, for all sorts of things. Ben at this point really wanted this deal that he had established with Joshua to work. He wanted those Legos to be back in Brian's hands. So he would call him to try and find out what's going on. And this is when Joshua would again flip another 180 entirely and go back on his word and him swearing to God.
When we took over that store, there was nothing in that store. The shelves were empty.
Are you shitting me?
You guys are thinking we're the bad guys.
So we just went from, yeah, you know what, I'll give Brian...
Like, bro, like, we have you on video saying we have his inventory and are happy to turn it over. And now you're saying you don't have anything? Bruh, what are you, a fucking politician? Like what? I know we're in midterm season, but holy shit!
And everything. I love the guy. Please just stop messing with my store too. Guys, when we took over the store, it was empty, dude. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's like you're speaking to two different people. It's like this guy has a multi-personality disorder.
Yeah, my dog
must have felt like he was in the Twilight
Blood
Zone.
here has fucking
wrong,
BPD or something.
For it, is what you're saying. So you know you're wrong. So you know that you stole the Legos then.
Let's go to court then.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, is that what you want?
Do it, pussy.
You really want that?
Do it.
I mean, I would like to just get the Legos back, but if that's what you want, I mean, it seems like this is what you want. I'm giving you every out that I can, but.
Yeah.
Dang.
He wants to avoid it as much as he can.
Legos, give them back. It's pretty easy.
You can f*** yourself.
Dang.
You stole them, bitch.
I stole the Legos?
What?
Yeah, you're a fucking thief.
Dang.
Dang.
Okay.
You can shut the fuck up. That's your fucking choice.
Oh, he is heated.
This thing is
he is heated.
We haven't even gotten to the assault rifles wielded by police officers raiding Ben's home. But just like many times throughout this journey so far, Reckless Ben found himself at square one again. He was faced with two choices. The first one is walking away. The second one is suing, needing hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawyer fees, and this lasting for maybe like around 2 or more years in court. None of these two choices sounded attractive whatsoever. And so this is when Ben would come up with his master plan.
We're less than an hour in. Oh, small claims
court in the U.S. is something that helps people resolve money disputes quickly and without the need for a lawyer. This is really something made for the average little man, one that is standing up to a bigger corporation but cannot afford a lawyer, and typically corporations in these cases.
I mean, would this be small claims? I mean, this cases handling anything involved like an under amounts of $10,000. So like, would this be small claims? I don't think this would be small claims, because it's like, this is big claims, because this is like a $200,000 Lego set here we're talking about. So I'm questioning the logic on small claims court, because, you know, small claims is a threshold of anything under $10,000. Like granted, it also, of course, right there says right in my fucking face, although the exact limit may vary depending on the location. But small claims courts, like whenever you get up, I believe it's above 100K, that's grand theft. That's out of small claims jurisdiction. So that might be a little not great. So I'm not sure. I don't have the exact logic. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not, as much as I would love to be, I'm not a small town rat lawyer. So I don't know the logistics. Yeah, the court not wanting to hear Ben's side doesn't shock me in the slightest. It doesn't shock me in the slightest at all. Also, I don't know if I got raided or what. I did not get a raid notification. Lakari raid from a nil022. I don't know. Twitch is being funky today. Okay, yeah, Jake, that does make sense then. Like, if that's the thing, if they take it to small claims court in a situation and then gets referred to state level Supreme Court for a criminal case, like, that would be a smart course of action. Take it to small claims court. The court realizes, oh, this is bigger than us, and elevates it, like, to a criminal court. That would certainly be a nail in the coffin.
Will lose, as long as you have the proof, of course. The caveat, though, is that they only handle cases involving amounts under $10,000.
Okay, I was just yapping about that. Yes.
Collection here that's worth $200,000.
I literally.
We're dealing with half of it, so $100,000.
I literally.
How would you do that?
Literally
to
just
sue the store 10 different times.
Oh.
He and his friends would take up credit card loans. $10,000 each. They would give them to Brian, and since Brian still technically owns these sets through consignment, he had the ability to sell it to them. And since now they were the owners of Lego sets that had disappeared, they could each sue in small claims court for $10,000 each, amounting to $100,000.
So they're doing it the funniest way possible then. They're just each individually buying a $10,000 stake in his Lego collection. Each. And then suing them in small claims court specifically for their portions. Oh God, that is
against
God tier.
This was something that they held
God tier
in winning. And the cool thing about small claims court is that it's pretty fast too. It doesn't take 2 years. It takes way less than that. If you're wondering how Ben and his friends would pay off these $10,000 credit card loans, which are at like 20+% interest, there's no sales tax in Oregon. So 10,000 is 10,000, right? And so Brian would just give them back the money as a loan.
There's no sales tax in Oregon? What the fuck? God, give me some of that.
Zero interest.
Give me some of that in my
this
state.
Really was genius. Again, I'm not a lawyer here. A lawyer would probably facepalm and shit himself at the same time. But
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Legal is probably just like
bricks and minifigs runs
hand
here,
in like face in palm.
But don't celebrate yet, because guess what? The Salem store would, quote unquote, temporarily close. It would shut down. It hasn't been open.
Oh, they would close.
This was to avoid paying back anything in that small claims court. So Ben had somewhat won, but he had won too well. He managed to, well, destroy this franchise, but without getting his money back, which was in the end not really a win. As you'll see later in the video, this was a strategy that Ammon, as well as his good old friends, would employ all the time whenever they got into any trouble, closing and opening up companies so that they never have to suffer any consequences. But Ben wasn't simply going to stop here, okay? The store closed, but this was a victory, and he was going to let the world know.
Permanently closed. We stole a family's life savings. They sued. We lost. By closing the store, we get out of having to pay the family what we owe them.
So he would print out this massive announcement.
Oh,
right
God.
At the store. The sign would say, permanently closed. We stole a family's life savings. They sued. We lost. By closing the store, we get out of having to pay the family what we owe them. Soon enough, this would go absolutely viral around the internet.
Great.
Bear in mind, this was done back in 2025. Reckless Ben's first video, which we just talked about, came out on May 21st, 2026. So people have been aware about the store for over a year.
So he's been documenting this for 7 years.
And wide. But as shocking as some of the events that occurred in this video were, it was nothing compared to what the second video would do to the internet. Because there, we didn't just deal with a shady company, we dealt with a shady police department.
So this is where the police corruption comes in.
Unbelievable levels.
This is where the police corruption comes in.
Around the same day the first video would come out, Ben would also release part 2 on his Patreon. Seeing that many people were impressed with his very interesting and untraditional type of investigation techniques, they would support.
Oh yeah, untraditional.
This video untraditional. Would be so shocking, such an escalation of
that's the word we'll use.
Video, that even though it was behind a paywall, it would practically leak everywhere. Okay, the details would be visible to just about anyone following.
I'm sure that was. I'm sure that's on purpose.
Only released on May 30th on his YouTube channel. People already knew. Okay, this guy had an assault rifle pointed at him because of a Lego investigation.
God damn.
All right, so look, here was the situation. The small claims court hearing didn't work because the store closed down before they could pay them the damages. And so, Ben would
that's a shitty business tactic
to the franchise co-owners.
So personally suing
and Brandon Best,
dickheads 1 and 2.
However, in order to sue them this way, the court wanted to see a good faith effort from Ben to resolve the dispute before this lawsuit can go forward. So in other words, you have to prove to the court that he at least tried to resolve this with a conversation or something before.
There's an hour and a half long video of him trying to do that.
Ben had to travel to Utah because that's exactly where both Joshua and Brandon.
Like he literally tried to have like a whole conversation and agreement.
However, before trying to make contact with both Brandon and Joshua, Ben would decide to pass by, just real quick, the HQ since he was in Utah now. Maybe have another conversation with the CEO, let him know what he was doing, give him updates, see if he wanted to resolve things peacefully still. But this time, the police would be called on him, and he would be told to leave the property immediately. All right, fine, no worries. Let's head to Joshua's house now. They'd go there and see him outside of his home on the phone. Most likely, right? We can theorize here.
Most likely with the police. Oh, the HQ. Oh, yeah.
These guys,
they're letting him know.
But before Ben could even initiate contact with Joshua, which is required for his lawsuit, he'd notice 2 different police cars headed his way. And no, he wasn't paranoid. These cars were here for him. They would stop the car under the pretext of them not stopping at a stop sign. Ben would later ask for the footage of this incident, right? To see like, did they actually fail to stop at the stop sign? And no, it was bullshit. They actually did. So this was the beginning, right? The tip of the iceberg of the corrupt actions that the American Fork PD, this is the name of the police department involved, would take against Ben and his friends.
God damn, dog.
After talking for a while, they would trespass everyone in the car, okay? Which meant that if they ever found themselves on or near Joshua's property, they were being arrested. Just keep in mind here, they hadn't even stepped foot in his house.
They're on a public street. They're not on his property.
The next thing Ben would do would go, well, to the other co-owner, which was Brandon Best. And this time he'd actually answer and there would be no police cars waiting for him. However, even with Ben trying his best to communicate, Brandon would just remain nonverbal. He would just sit there looking in the distance and not saying a word.
God, he would just look like a deer in the headlights.
Now, what's really interesting to me here is that as Ben was speaking to one of the police officers, she'd be talking about Brandon as if she was very aware of who he is and of the situation he
found himself in. Well, of course. They're like
defending him. Watch for yourself.
He didn't steal anything. He inherited the store from somebody else.
No, he stole $200,000
How do you know this?
Because I've been spending the last 3 months in the case and I won in court.
He inherited the store He's being blamed for everything that the previous owner did, and he's trying.
Well, that's a lie. So we.
Okay,
You see, this is why I hate cops who are so confidently ignorant. Because the fact that you can be a cop in this country and not actually know the law is so baffling to me. Like, the fact that you don't have to know the law in this country to be a cop. Like, to be a lawyer, sure. But to be a police officer, you don't have to actually know anything that has to do with the law. And that is so baffling to me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm sorry. Is this a police officer or is this his wife or sister or something? This sounds like a family member defending him in court. Very interesting. And of course, as you might have guessed,
I mean,
Ben also
you know, they're probably paying the same place for tidings. So
since he actually went face to face with Brandon and Brandon refused to talk, he was able to upload this proof to the court, and this was enough. This was enough to prove that he had tried to resolve
enough
this
for
in a good faith conversation. However, he wasn't even able to talk face to face to Joshua, and so the roller coaster continued. So look, this is when Ben, who was probably naive to Mormons in Utah, would find out that actually both Brandon and Joshua were Mormons. This is something that Brian would point out, like, hey, by the way, like, they all just happen to be Mormons. And so Ben would get another brilliant idea.
What does he do? Oh, he's going after the LDS church
that Joshua goes to every week, and he would find someone that works there, most likely a missionary or something, someone who volunteers. And he'd tell him about the whole story, about how Joshua swore to God that he didn't steal anything or that he was going to give back what he stole, along with all the chain of events that have led him here today. But what happened next is like something out of a weird drug-related crime series or something.
Like what are we on, like
Breaking Bad? The guy from the church that went to Joshua's house, Joshua wouldn't even speak to him. He wouldn't even open the door. He would call the police immediately. This was Mormon on Mormon violence, and the police would tell this guy to leave the property.
We got friendly fire.
Ben and his friends would get stopped by multiple police vehicles. The officers would conduct a full search of their vehicle and would have them wait outside. This would last for multiple hours, around 3 hours, as they also made them undergo a drug test. It seemed like there was no shortage to the intimidation tactics that both Joshua and Brandon were employing.
God damn, dog.
Like this police force was in their pockets. Fork PD was compromised.
Oh,
even
most certainly.
Drug tests.
100%.
The police wouldn't let them go until they told them where the drugs were, or whatever that means. After this incident, Ben would request body cam footage. Everyone can do that, okay? It's a public right. But much of it was redacted. Much of it was cut, which was very suspicious.
Oh yeah, that's very illegal.
It's
very illegal.
Victim. Now, during a routine drug check, it almost seemed like these officers had something to hide. Maybe the fact that this was an illegal stop and that they were illegally trying to pressure Ben and his friends to admit that they had drugs so that they can arrest them.
Yeah.
And they can stop messing with Joshua and Brandon.
Yeah, they're trying to help their good buddy.
Debacle would be described to the court by Ben, saying, hey, listen, I tried my best to talk to Joshua, but this happened, and hey, this also got approved. So now, all that remained was serving the court papers to both Brandon and Joshua. But Ben would focus solely on Joshua. He was the one he was speaking to all this time, after all, and he was the one who swore to him and then still lied to him. But how could he
focus on the dickhole
papers if he's trespassed off his property? Well, if you didn't understand yet, Ben had a way of coming up with some very creative
what's he got going?
Had the brilliant idea of printing out the face of Joshua with an evil laugh, with the quote next to him saying,
I stole a dying man's life savings.
He would sign and put it right in front
that is
of
fantastic.
Joshua's property, his house, on the adjacent street, right? Not directly.
He's not on his property.
Street,
he's not on his property.
Lot. Okay, so he'd argue that he was doing this legally on a public lot.
Oh, that is comedy.
Rights. In reality, this was being done to lure him out of his home so that he can serve him with his court papers. Now, look, some of you might think this is vigilantism. You know, some of you might think this is a bit too over the top.
I mean, you could have just hired a pizza guy. Just got like a pretend to be a pizza. Get a guy to pretend to be a pizza guy.
Don't understand the significance of being served. You see, for a lawsuit to begin, you need to serve the person that you're suing, and this person, right? If they're smart enough, they can avoid you forever. You go to the registered address. Oops, they're not there. You go to the place they work at, oops, they're not there. Effectively stalling justice for as long as they want to.
Yeah, like, the fact that you can just avoid getting sued and you can't be, like, sued in absentia in this country, like, it is so messed up. Like, you could just be like someone could, like, you would be trying to rightfully sue somebody, and as long as they've got their sneak stat just maxed out and they can dodge that person trying to serve them with their legal notice, like, then you will never get justice in court. It will never come to you. Like, because you just have this, like, level 99, like, freaking Argonian sneak archer just slipping past the server every single time. And it is absolute dicketry happening. And it's just how the legal system works in this country. Also, thank you for the follow, BC Gamer Name. Welcome to the HQ.
Now, there are, of course, cases where you can serve by email, but you have to make the case to the judge, and the judge has to approve it. It's not given all the time, only in special cases. And so, many people choose to hire someone like a process server, an individual who specializes in delivering legal documents.
The fact that there is
and this idea of
the fact that there is an entire profession in this country where you get paid just to, like, out spy versus spy somebody to serve them legal papers is pure comedy.
Baiting someone in order to give them documents is actually quite normal, unfortunately, in the US legal system. In fact, let me give you an example that happened on a live stream. This involves a live streamer by the name of Scuffed Justin Carey, right? He was being sued by another streamer for both stalking and harassment. However, he'd always keep avoiding being served court documents. And so a process server would be hired, and just
how's this go? How's this go?
He managed to get him his papers served. Watch.
Are you SPC? What? Are you SPC? I am. Oh my god, you read this, I love this. What is this? You've been served. Oh, why? Wait.
Oh, clapped. Clapped.
Oh. Would find him through the live stream. He would.
Oh, that is fantastic.
And there, because
he got Johnny Somali'd.
Like, oh my god, is that you? Pretending to be a fan. Also that he can read the document right in front of him, and so then in court,
oh, that is fantastic.
Yes, Your Honor, this person was served. And if he doesn't show up to the court date, then hey, there's no excuses. The streamer then realizes, oh fuck, I just got served, and pouts for the rest of this clip.
Oh,
As
that's
I mentioned, Reckless
pure
Ben
comedy.
His own process server. She's sitting in the car, and she was approving of this. This was legal, and yes, I'm sure process servers have endless stories at parties over how they served an individual. Whether they
I would
dressed up as a delivery man, whether they
I would just want to go to like a meeting. I just want to go like.
World out.
I just want to go to a meeting with these people, sit down, and listen to the wildest stories by process servers of, like, the various ways that they've served legal papers to people. I want to hear them tales. I want to know I want to hear, like, the straight up, like, Hitman, like, World of Assassins type stuff they're doing.
There. And even though Ben would be there for a specific legal reason, wanting to serve Joshua with documents, even though he had a process server with him, the cops would be called on him. Not once, not twice, not even 3 times. They'd be called on him for a total of 4 times within the span of like an hour. The first time he'd explain the situation,
4 times in an hour.
After. The second time, another set of police would show up. They'd get explained the situation, they would also leave. But now here's the very important thing here. The third time the police would show up, they would say, you know what? You want to serve Joshua? Give me the documents. I'll serve him for you.
Oh.
Wonderful. A police officer can totally do this. Shortly afterwards, though, the police would come back to him, and here's what they would say, handing him back those papers.
Sure what this is. I've never seen something like that. To be honest with you,
You've
court papers.
You've never seen court papers.
Judge's name or anything like that on it.
Because it hasn't gotten to the judge yet. So this is serving him, and then we'll go to the court, and then the judge will be there. So the judge.
Ben was explaining to the police
how the fact that the police don't know how court papers work is a problem in this country and needs to be rectified. Like,
oh my god! Court case works. Isn't that incredible? The Fork PD police
incredible
had yet again broken the law here. Police can't simply refuse to serve someone papers, and that's exactly what happened. When Joshua would ask of body cam footage of this officer, like what exactly he did with these papers, it would of course also be redacted, as if it was protecting him and hiding his actions.
Of course it would be.
Had no excuse.
Of course.
The fourth time they would show up to talk to Ben, they would take these papers and then would actually call the court directly to verify its authenticity. And guess what would happen? The court would say, yes, that's actually a case. This is on body cam. This wasn't even redacted.
Thank you for holding. How can I help you?
Trying to speak with someone to verify if a case is, just verify if a case is real.
Yeah, looks like a real small claims case in our court.
Okay, thank you for your help. That's all.
And there he goes, covering it up, covering up the body cam.
Officer was handed these documents. He'd said,
he's covering it up. He's hiding it.
They're lying to me. They're fake. They would then verify that they're real.
Yeah, he rang them up. They're like, oh yeah.
What does Fork PD decide to do here? Do they decide to finally do the right thing because there's no way out of this? No.
Of course
not. They would unironically just decide to arrest Ben. I'm not even joking. After this call, after verifying the authenticity of this court case, they would put him in handcuffs and arrest him. No reason given. Let's go. You know what's really
Fuck cops.
Too?
Honestly, ACAB.
You're meant to be
Fuck
read
cops.
your Miranda rights. Like, hey, you have the right to remain silent, whatever. He wouldn't even be read anything. Dude, he would just get handcuffed and put in the car. He'd end up in jail without even having the Miranda rights read to him and without even knowing why. The Mafia in New York back in the 1950s was less corrupt than this.
Oh, most certainly.
Something. When Brian would find out about this, he would tell Ben that
this is less corrupt than like Chicago police in like Moonshiner era.
And they donated millions of dollars to the Mormon church, right? The good old 10% tithe. And coincidentally,
of course,
all the officers involved in the Fork PD station were also Mormon. And they
of
all knew
course.
Each other. It's a small world in Utah. All of a sudden,
it's a small world after all.
Very stupid ass Lego drama had become a very far-reaching conspiracy of massive corruption undergoing here. So like after Ben would be released from jail, he would yet again find himself at square one, something that he had done multiple times already. But this time, seeing just
putting out the crowdfunding,
somewhat feel helpless a little bit over the idea of getting the Legos back. That's
yeah, like you were literally up against a mafia, a religious mafia that controls the police force in that entire area. So
decide to start a GoFundMe to recuperate the money instead, because these Legos, I mean, the police was against him, but in typical Ben fashion, he wanted to advertise this GoFundMe. He wanted to get the most amount of money for Brian.
Oh, most certainly.
So what did he decide to do? He decided to print this image again of Joshua laughing his ass off at stealing money from an old man to place it next to Joshua's home. This would serve as publicity. And of course, as you might expect, the police would yet again be called. What was interesting here, though, was that out of the two police officers, one of them would agree that what was being done here was legal, and the other one wouldn't. So there was a disagreement in between police officers.
We got infighting.
Much of the body cam footage in this incident
we got Piggly infighting.
Also redacted. But Ben would find something that wasn't redacted that would put them in trouble. Watch this clip.
There's audio, so when you sync the two clips together, I can actually hear what they're saying here.
Is it an occasional crime? Is it disorderly conduct? Why? Is he upset about it? I mean, I guess, but that's not.
Yeah, this police officer is right. Just because this might make Josh upset does not make this poster illegal.
Yeah. So this finally gave us.
Yeah, it's like just because something hurts your fees, it doesn't make it illegal. It doesn't make it a constitutional violation. Like, if somebody says that you are a poo-poo head, that's not like you can't suddenly claim that you're a victim of like some kind of persecution. Holy shit. We live in the dumbest timeline in the dumbest country.
An understanding about what was going on here. Oh, is it making Joshua upset? Let's find a crime to pin on these guys to make them stop. What is it, disorderly conduct or something? It was incredible to just see this in a clip like this. This wasn't even redacted. It's both surprising to see
Yeah,
just how deep
facts
the
don't care
corruption
about
goes, but
Shell's
also it makes
feelings,
you think,
dog.
well, if this wasn't redacted, what are they How much worse is the
yeah.
footage that's being redacted then?
Yeah, you're
But
gonna
hey,
have to get a
it
lawyer
gets
to
worse.
subpoena that shit.
At some point, one of the police officers would ask Ben's friend, hey, hand me your phone. And when his friend would lock the phone before giving it, he'd get arrested for such a dumb reason. Tampering with evidence. The guy was just locking his phone, not destroying it. So now his friend was being sent to jail. No Miranda rights read to him. No reason given. It was ridiculous at this point. But this was actually nothing. Nothing compared to what was going to happen.
This is why I hate police
Ben
officers.
Wasn't from Utah.
Like,
I think that's pretty obvious. None of his
corrupt cops, obviously. Like, I'm not saying like every cop I've ever met is a piece of shit. I'm not saying every cop, because I've met some cops that are just like genuinely good people and just trying to help folks. And it's like, but these kinds of cops, like, yeah, like, oh god damn.
Friends were, but when they arrived here, they had rented an Airbnb while they tried to serve Joshua and get on with this lawsuit to get the Legos back or to get the money back. So after setting up the GoFundMe and having that altercation with the police over the sign that they had put up on the fence, they would get back to the Airbnb and chill. And while they were chilling, they were completely oblivious to the fact that the Fork PD Police Department was about to initiate a raid on them with straight up assault rifles. I mean, look at this. They just straight up went in there with pistols, assault rifles, as if they were doing some sort of a drug bust on the cartel or something. They would drag them out, and Ben's shoulder would get dislocated right here with such force when there was no resistance whatsoever. This reminded Ben of the conversation he had with Joshua back in the first video. How Joshua was saying, yeah, I'll pin this all on you. I'll make you the thief. You stole the Legos. Because guess what? This search warrant that made them go with assault rifles and pistols and made them handcuff everyone outside of the house, treating them like criminals, was for stolen Legos.
How does this happen? Like, genuinely, how does this, like, this has to be wide-scale corruption. Like, at what point do you not just, like, call the governor of Utah and be like, hey, you might want to do something about this? Like, genuinely. Oh my god. I'm taking psychic damage from how absolutely unbelievable this whole situation is. Like, I didn't know, like, that you could just be like granted, I know, like, with what's going on in this country today, like, we have a fucking circus on the White House lawn right now, and like, if Obama did that, they'd have people trying to draw and quarter him in the freaking West Wing yard. Jesus Christ. But, like, how does this much flagrant corruption just happen? And nobody talks about it until Ben does.
They were alleging that Ben and his friends had over $200,000 in stolen Legos with them. Absolute bullshit. Nothing more than another attempt at an intimidation tactic to make them back off. Just like with the whole
absolutely wild
thing. But it wouldn't just stop there. Every single one of Ben's friends, including himself, would be arrested. They'd be put in a police car and sent to jail. Every single one of them was sent to a jail cell, and Ben was questioned. Like, seriously, like, what is this? It turns out the Mormon Mafia was not a conspiracy theory by any means.
Not shocking.
Least shocking. They found out about the GoFundMe. And then they would start questioning all his friends, asking them, was this Ben's idea? This is what they wanted. They wanted to pin the GoFundMe on Ben and use that as some sort of reason to keep him in jail, which they fully intended to do.
Keep him in jail for a GoFundMe.
But they would keep Ben in jail. He was meant to
what's
stay there
what's
for
the
30
crime?
days, no bail.
What's the crime?
Face a court case alleging stalking and harassment towards Joshua. Again, I wish I was making this up. I wish this was a joke.
Jesus
but no, this
Christ.
actually happened. But Ben would get extremely lucky because the judge presiding over the case would think, wait, what do you mean no bail? And would give him bail set at $2,500.
They really tried to put him in no bail for this. Yeah, it is wide-scale stupidity, Cadbury. Holy hell. And also, thank you for the follow, Saxy Boots 2006. Welcome to the HQ.
Now look, at this point, Ben would be released from jail. okay? After having had assault rifles pointed to his face and a dislocated shoulder, yeah, he'd be a free man. But one day later, I mean, seriously, this only gets worse. One day later, the police would post a warrant for Ben's arrest. A friend of his would call the Utah Police Department, the Fork PD Police Department, and ask about this, and they'd say that this time, the judge approved a no bail jail term. Because
Why?
The court had somehow found out that he was a threat to the physical safety of a protected person.
A protected person.
We're talking about Joshua. And when it came to the court case itself,
protecting
he
his
was facing up to a
fees?
maximum of 5 years in jail if he lost. They wanted to charge him with stalking, a Class A misdemeanor, which means it's right under a felony.
Good on
and
TCRL
targeted
getting in on that
residential
too.
Picketing, a Class B misdemeanor. So knowing that there was a warrant out for his arrest and knowing that he had no bail if he got arrested, he would stay in jail for like an entire month up until this court date. Ben fled to Mexico. Dude, seriously, I wish I was making this up. This was all over Legos. This was genuinely all
Oh
over
my God.
Legos. Like, can we just remember how we started with this? This dude was being treated like he was part of the cartel, selling kilograms of cocaine
Like,
or something. Do you now
This is
understand
over
why
getting,
this
just
went
trying to get a
viral?
man
He
his
got
Lego
assault
collection
rifles
back.
pointed at him for
And he
labor.
got his shoulder,
He's facing over
he got his shoulder pulled out of socket. Like a military grade assault rifle shoved in his face and threatened, and an arrest warrant with no bail because he's calling out somebody for stealing Legos.
5 years of jail time in a no bail situation over Legos. This was a guy trying to take someone to small claims court, something made for the small, lower middle class guy who wants to go up against a corporation, and this was the treatment he was receiving by a police department. Yeah, no wonder everyone's making videos about this, including myself. This is something that should be spread far and
you
wide.
got
This is unacceptable.
Charlie, you got
I've seen
Ludwig,
dictatorships with more fair
you got
laws
Legal.
and police departments than this. Like, are you kidding me? And so, with so much awareness being raised about this, with everyone talking about this, the
everybody's
outrage
talking about
was
it.
palpable. And accountability was at the top of the priority list for anyone involved in this. And so, humanity had found hope and justice again as consequences started to come in
finally.
when it came
Finally.
to Percy and what they had done.
Let me
leading
see
up
what
to
happens
this
to him.
point.
Show me where they get it. Show me the reaming.
Unprecedented.
Show me.
Even the police
I need
had to make a statement.
I need to see it.
Look, bricks and minifigs were now completely fair game to the entire internet. And so, people did some digging. It would turn out that scamming and legal threats were, at this point, in bricks and minifigs DNA. There's one YouTuber by the name of MGS Brick, and in 2025, he'd go to his local bricks and minifigs store with a $1,000 Star Wars Lego figurine. Now, this was distinctly different from another figurine that looks fairly similar that's worth $100, but the main difference is what's on the print, and anyone practically would know that if they were into Legos.
Yeah, like looking at it, it's obvious to see the differences.
His figurine is fake. The employee he spoke to that he was trying to sell this to essentially was telling him, yeah, this is fake, trying to undermine how much it actually costs. Now, interestingly enough, at first, he'd be reached out to by corporate, but they wouldn't threaten to sue him or anything. No, they'd say, listen, I want to acknowledge that what happened is not normal. This shouldn't have happened. And the person who wrote this email was Matt McNeff. Yes, Eamon McNeff's brother.
Not Mr. Mustache?
Signaled interest in collabing with Reckless Ben, bricks and minifigs would take notice and would send a completely different email. In it, they'd say, you're receiving this email directly because it has been brought to our attention that through MGS Bricks, you have communicated with Reckless Ben about potentially creating peak content involving bricks and minifigs.
Creating peak content.
Oh,
perfect.
To you a formal notice not to involve yourself, your platform, your audience, etc., in any coordinated activity involving.
They're trying to control his content now.
Any claims he's making against bricks and minifigs.
Wow.
So this was them continuing on with their strategy that they've always employed: intimidation and using the law to bully people from ever being able to speak out against them. And speaking of intimidation, we'd hear from another franchise owner who had something very similar happen to him in comparison to Crystal. He would express wanting to sell his store, right? He wanted to move on and do something else. He's just like Crystal, visited by Brandon Best. This ex-owner is thinking to himself, okay, well, I got to do inventory.
So wait, so Brandon is just like,
and Brandon seemed to be on board. He's like, yeah, sure. I mean,
so Brandon's just going around all over to different stores and just like yoinking their shit.
A letter from legal. And so the next day, this ex-owner would receive this letter, and it would pretty much say, because you owe us rent and fees, and because you've broken the franchisee agreement, you owe us a fine of $70,000, which coincidentally was almost the exact value of his inventory of Legos in the store. He, of course, was denied the fact that he had breached the agreement in any way, shape, or form, but this really showed us how they operated.
Yeah, this is straight up just criminal.
Mafia fully at play right before our very eyes.
Oh.
And it wasn't just limited to adults either. Someone would post on Reddit how back in 2020, when they were 15, Bricks and Minifigs threatened to sue him. More specifically,
they threatened to sue a 15-year-old. Wow. Wow. Also, thank you for the follow, Kilimo. Welcome to the HQ.
Specifically suing him because someone else opened a store. It was based on a non-compete clause, even though this dude was a minor. I mean,
he was trying to sue a 15-year-old for a non-compete.
He wasn't even the one who opened the store. It was obvious that Bricks and Minifigs held zero respect to the law, zero respect
in the hell?
to anyone but themselves, and have been getting away with it for years. At the same time, though, they were also banking on the fact that even with Reckless Ben's antics, they were also going to get away with it.
Let's see. Extra context. Somebody I know opened a store similar to BaM, like BaM or Alt Brick Co. I was laid off when the BaM location closed down before this letter was sent. I was 15 years old at the time. I was not allowed by BaM managers to sign contracts because I was the only minor employee. I was never given any information on vendors or business practices because I was a minor. In the state this occurred in, any contract signed by a minor would have been rendered void anyway. They shared information on their vendors through many YouTube tour videos, and all the vendors have resale pages on their site. So he was being sued for non-compete because somebody he knows opened his own, like, Lego store. And they're trying to hold a minor responsible, which is any kind of non-compete that they force him to sign is completely null and void. Yeah, okay.
2. On May 28th, Reckless Ben would upload the video titled "I Got Bricks and Minifigs Leaked Email." And this was an email sent to all franchisees from corporate. It was not meant to be public. And in it, they would claim that they were being deliberately targeted by multiple content creators, framing themselves as the victims. They would also claim that they weren't going to be defensive anymore. They were going to be offensive.
Also, yeah, Orange Cassidy thumbs up. Hell yeah.
Behind the scenes towards anyone involved in this trying to ruin their name. They'd share records with local police, Oregon State Police, the FBI, and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. They'd also claim that they're preparing a temporary restraining order on Ben with cease and desists all over his content to come. And what really shows us that there was no self-awareness whatsoever.
Google what?
They would claim that this is just a phase.
Just a phase. Just a phase, they say. That's what every mom thinks once, that's what every parent thinks whenever, you know, you start putting on the makeup and walking out in fishnets. Oh, it's not a phase, honey. Oh, it's not a phase, honey. They think this is a phase. Oh, it's so funny. They think this is a phase. Oh, boy. It's going to be funny whenever they're filing Chapter 7. Like, they'd be lucky if they're only filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. But no, I got a feeling they're going to be writing up Chapter 7.
They'd outline how the biggest issue with internet drama takes 2 to 3 days, and then in the coming weeks, it quickly dissipates.
2 to 3 days,
completely oblivious over the fact that Reckless Ben is not going to just let this die, though. He's planning to release multiple videos.
Oh, of course.
Weeks, including
he's getting multiple multi-million view videos on this whole subject.
An attempt at damage control from Bricks and Minifigs corporate. Additionally, on the same day, what they would publicly release would be a blog post titled "Response to Customer Inquiries Regarding Bricks and Minifigs Salem, Oregon. Clarity and Resolution of an Isolated and Former Franchisee's."
Hey, there's Zero. Welcome to the
already in
chat.
Title, they would want to make this seem like this was isolated to the franchisee. That the
Oh, of course.
And
They
name
think
of the brand, everything involving it.
They think that they
nothing
could just
to do with
isolate this.
In fact, when we scroll down and we see what is false here, what they claim is false, it would be the most pathetic attempts at deflection I've ever seen. First, they say that they acknowledge that Brandon Best said, hey, the new owner would take all that consignment liability when the store ownerships changed hands from Crystal. But then they say, oh yeah, I mean, you know, he said that, but he wasn't committing in any way the company to any agreement, okay? Our approach from the start has been simple. Any inventory that doesn't belong to us should go back to its rightful owner. Okay, then where are Brian's Legos?
Yeah, where are the Legos at? Where are the Legos at?
And
Huh?
even more interesting,
Where are the Legos at?
say, hey, the collection was not worth $200,000.
Oh, it's
right?
exceptionally
It was somewhere in the
shady,
range of
he's
60,000
sexy.
to 80,000. That's funny and very convenient, especially seeing that there were multiple social media posts of Bricks and Minifig's Salem store claiming that this was over 200,000. They had also claimed that they had never received records and documentation, even though we saw in Ben's video he had sent Joshua the actual consignment contract.
We saw the documents.
The store did
We
not
saw
close due to the lawsuits
the
made by
docs.
Ben, but because their staff, including local teenagers, faced severe real-world safety hazards.
It's like, we didn't close our store to avoid the lawsuit involving our store. We closed our store because our employees, including many local disenfranchised teenagers, are being threatened. It's like, no, it's one goofy ass dude with a curly hair standing outside your store doing memes and Bella Twins, like twin switcheroo stuff to avoid getting trespassed. And you constitute that as like a bomb threat? Oh my god, this is... Oh, it's like, please tell me that's Cap. Please tell me that's Cap. That has to be Cap. Please tell me.
Stalking and bomb threats. Now, of course, these things are very unfortunate and should never happen, okay, even in a case like this. But, of course, the timing does seem very coincidental, almost as if they cared more about the lawsuits than the safety of their staff. In any case,
Oh,
this
of
would
course
be the
they do.
start of damage control, okay?
Ah.
This idea they were coping with.
First sign of downfall, the cope.
Of time and everything's going to go back the same way it was before was just not happening.
Yeah,
At
it's
some point,
not
the
happening.
CEO, Ammon McNeff himself, would get on a live stream on the channel ACOB to answer some questions,
Oh.
some concerns. This would be
Yeah, it's not
streamed
gonna
on
work,
May
bro.
30th, 2026. And to be honest with you, it was really just a regurgitation of what we just saw in the blog post. Denying the fact that they ever stole anything, denying involvement, denying responsibility, denying accountability. Here's a small clip of him talking, and I mean, you know, just listening to him for a minute is good enough to understand what he was there for.
We're gonna have to
My
listen to
name
his voice,
is,
huh?
Ammon McNeff, and you'll forgive me. You know, I am reading.
I'm not
this,
gonna forgive
so
you.
that the statement can be.
I'm not gonna
clear and
forgive you.
concise, But I'm CEO of Bricks and Minifigs, and I want to speak directly, not through a blog post, not through an email, just directly to anyone following what's happened in Salem, Oregon. To the Mansell family, I am sorry that you are in this position. A family that loved Lego and trusted someone with their collection deserves better than what happened. That has always been
Then
our
you
position,
should
and
have
it has
just
not
given
changed.
him his Legos
Here is
back
where we stand today.
when he asked for
We
them
want to hear
back.
from you directly. We want to help facilitate a resolution of this through the proper channels, and that has not changed.
Really? So why have you been ghosting him this whole time then? Why do you have his number blocked?
We are willing to sit down with you with a professional mediator, one you're comfortable with, bring the consignment agreement you and the previous owner of the Salem, Oregon store created, bring your inventory list, bring whatever documentation you have, and we're not asking for perfection. We're asking for cooperation.
Yeah, I have no idea,
We will
Jake.
bring
I don't know
everything we
how
have
like the
to,
feds
and
can
we'll
get
go through it
involved in
together.
this at this point.
We want to
honestly.
see this resolved. Brian, that's it. That's the offer. A mediator, a table, documentation, and a genuine effort to get your family to a fair place. No cameras, no stunts, no manufactured drama, just a real conversation.
So this was the first half of this little clip, and I mean, the only thing going through my
Yeah.
head is, took you long enough. I mean, it's about time.
Yeah, it only
it
took you like
the destruction of the reputation of your
It
entire
only took
company
you
for to
half a
do this, but I
decade.
mean, about time, right? Better late than never, right? This was the
Yeah.
only thing that Brian and Ben and everyone who fought for this wanted to begin with. This CEO was given the opportunity in the beginning of Ben's video when they spoke one-on-one to do it the easy way. He chose the hard way, and here we are now. He has to
Yeah, he chose his hard way. He chose the hard way.
The second half of this clip would be talking
He was given an opportunity. Just hand over the Legos.
Minifigs brand have been targets of harassment, sometimes even violence. And yes, of course that sucks. That's terrible.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The CEO, Joshua, and
yeah,
Brandon.
It always sucks whenever like, you know, there's collateral damage, get caught in the crossfire in this kind of situation. It sucks, obviously, and it's not right. But like, you can't just drag this along for 6 years and not expect there to be blowback. Also, thank you for the follow, Solar Sucks. Like, Solarux. I love trying to pronounce names. I love pronouncing names. But welcome to the HQ. Yeah, this is like, give this guy a ukulele and he'll fit right in with YouTube apologies.
Anyone involved in corporate, and the fact that Brian has been in a constant state of anxiety for the last 2 years. So cool offer, man.
Oh, you're anxious,
really
huh?
That hard to do it way earlier? But the thing is, this wasn't just about bricks and minifigs anymore. This was also about the extremely corrupt and disgusting American Fork Police Department.
Oh,
they were
yeah.
now the crossfire. How come you guys are protecting Joshua so much like he's your
All
mob
right.
boss?
Okay, Solaris.
For Ben's arrest with no bail for something so stupid. He was only trying to serve Joshua his court papers. I mean, how come you pointed assault rifles at people for stolen Legos?
Yeah, this is messed up, dog.
PD would release a statement in which they deny all accusations.
They're
And then
doubling
the next day, on
down.
May 30th, they would release a 26-minute video in which the chief of police of the American Fork Police Department makes a statement about this. Now, I want to preface this by saying this is probably one of the worst videos I've ever watched in my life.
Oh,
when it
God,
comes to
no.
audio quality. Listen for yourself for a few seconds. Guys doing an ASMR statement. There are a few interesting.
My man, why you doing an ASMR police statement? Why? Also, thank you, Cadbury, for the gifted sub. Thank you very much. Like, oh, this is gonna be cringe.
Bits here in the statement.
Oh boy!
Pretty much every accusation.
Oh,
towards
get
his
y'all's
very
cameras
corrupt and
ready. This is go
disgusting
straight in the
police
cringe
department.
compilation.
He claimed that this raid that happened on the Airbnb with assault rifles and pistols was done because the Airbnb owner was the person that confirmed to the police that Ben and his friends stole Legos, which eventually led to the approval of the search warrant. Now, of course, the internet being the internet, they'd find.
Oh, of course, they managed to immediately find out the identity of the host, who the guy.
Find out who the Airbnb owner is, and it turns out that, well, yes, he is a Mormon elementary school principal.
Of course,
that is based in Utah.
Of course.
What's really interesting here, though, is like, how does the Airbnb owner even know that there are Legos in his own place when there are guests there? We'll find that out somewhat later. But for the time being, even with this knowledge in mind, it was still a very disproportionate reaction. Why do you need assault rifles for stolen Legos?
Like, why are you going in there like it's a fucking ATF raid?
Weren't there when it was a bogus search
warrant. Like, yeah, it was 100% false.
A video titled "In Response to the Police," responding to the statement. And
we steal from old people, of
course. Body cam footage of you raiding the Airbnb was redacted. They were clearly hiding something, and the whole thing was very fishy. Now, here's something that's pretty funny. The chief of police would claim that Ben was lying about his dislocated shoulder. Why? Well, because in the video, when he was talking about having his shoulder dislocated, Ben would add an image of an x-ray of a shoulder being actually dislocated, right? But this is a left shoulder, and the shoulder in question that's being dislocated right now on video is the right shoulder of Ben. In his response, Ben would explain that, yes, this is not my shoulder. This was a stock image. But my shoulder was actually dislocated. I know what that feels like. Like, what are you trying to do here? But yeah.
Oh, yeah. As someone who has dislocated their shoulder accidentally at one point, because I just have really bad shoulders. It's a whole genetic thing. My shoulders are dog shit and super easy to just throw out of place if you move the wrong way. As someone who has dislocated their shoulder before, you know when you dislocate your shoulder. You know when it happens. It is not a fun sensation.
Overall, the rest of this was just the chief of police justifying the actions of his officers.
It's 20 minutes of this dude quietly yapping.
Justify the stop sign search, even though they stopped at the stop sign. He would reveal to us that Joshua was actually planning to shoot Ben for harassment. He would say this on the phone, "I'm about to shoot this guy," which is why the police intervened. But somehow, Joshua, with his intent of murder, did not get into any trouble.
So this guy is just trying to serve him papers and highlight a problem in the community, and this motherfucker threatens murder, and he's not copping a charge.
What's really interesting, I find probably the most interesting thing in this whole statement from the chief of police, was that he'd claim that Ben got arrested because they found out that he had already served Joshua with papers on March 10th, and that he was only there to harass him for content. But in the body cam footage that was not redacted, we can see the officer asking the court, "Yo, what's the status of this case?" And he would confirm with the person on the phone that the other person in this, Joshua, was yet to be served. This was done as Ben was waiting in the car.
Okay.
How are you going to try to lie about this when you have the body cam footage?
Okay, so the defendant needs to be served with papers before the case will, I guess, start. Okay. Okay, thank you for your help.
Dude, come on, like, seriously, like,
bruh.
Oh
my God.
Objective, you know,
like,
but, like, even objectively,
I am trying.
The cop right here just confirmed Joshua is yet to be served. What do you mean he already served? What do you mean this is why we arrested him? Like, come on. But of course, this guy was still yapping. I mean, he was just still talking.
My man just
yapping at all at the American Fork Police Department, because then he was.
Yeah, the cop was just bullshitting the whole time.
Justified because Ben is a stalker. You know, it's funny. If you're being stalked or know someone who's stalked, I would love to hear one example of the police taking it this seriously. Because usually the police in the entirety of the United States, if you have a stalker, they would tell you we can't do anything until he hurts you.
Yep, I've seen so many cases of this where women try to get EOPs, you know, emergency order of protection against like stalkers, whether just like randos or like exes, being like, yeah, this person is a clear and present danger and stalking me and making threats. And they're like, sorry, he hasn't done anything illegal, so we can't do anything about it. And then a week later, the woman ends up murdered by the guy that was stalking him. But this motherfucker is being stalked by contented by a YouTube channel because this guy stole a family's Lego set, and they're like jumping on him like it's like they're the freaking Avengers. Oh God, you see, whenever you control large swaths of your local community, you can get away with a lot of things. You see? So I guess invest in your local community and become a community leader, because then you just control all the police, huh?
And here, this guy literally did nothing. He was just trying to serve him papers. And look at how he's being treated with an arrest warrant with no bail, facing 5 years in jail. Incredible. And there'd be some other funny bits in this too, like how the police searched them for heroin, right, the drug search, because they thought the driver's pupils looked weird, and how they arrested his other friend for trying to delete evidence when all he did was lock his phone. So they were...
So his eyes looked weird when it could just be, I don't know, crazy Utah sunlight, because they got some hot sunlight there in Utah. And then you claim his buddy deleted evidence when he just locked his phone. I lock my phone when I put it down on impulse. That sounds like an impulse. It's to click it before I let go of my phone, because I don't want to like accidentally like pocket swipe anything.
Doubling down on that. Look, overall, you don't even need to hear my opinion about this. Look at the like to the sub ratio. I've never seen such a ridiculous ratio on YouTube in such a long time. I mean,
936 likes to 47,000 dislikes.
Seriously.
Oh, that is peak.
936 likes, 47,000 dislikes.
Thank you, Mugen. Thank you for reiterating.
And speaking of horrendous... in the description of this video, you'd see the following is a link to all body cam footage and police reports related to the incidents referenced in this video. Now, what they were trying to do is link you all the body cam footage that was redacted, right? That was censored. The ones that were sent to Ben as he was making his videos. But in American Fork Police Department fashion, they would absolutely fuck it up. They would release the body cam footage, yes, but none of it would be redacted. This was the raw recording of everything.
They gave him the unredacted
thought that this
footage.
was some sort of leak. Hell, even Reckless Ben released some of the footage on his channel and
oh, that is so funny.
But no, there was no hack involved. There was nothing like that. It would be a major
They
crime
done
if it was.
goofed.
In reality, the American Fork Police Department would make a statement on their Facebook page and would admit they were the ones who released
they
the
goofed
unredacted
it.
files by mistake.
They goofed it.
Now look, it could have been someone on the team that wanted the right thing to happen and did this because they thought the corruption was through the roof.
Oh
or it could have
my
been
God.
incompetence. I'll let you decide that. But
Oh
if you have
my
to ask me
God.
Personally, I think it was incompetence. There's this one YouTube
Utter
channel
stupidity.
called BaM Sucks that uploaded every single bit of unredacted footage. And
Oh,
even went as far as to
fantastic.
upload everything on the Internet Archive as well, just in case his YouTube channel gets taken down. Which
As
is
you
completely
should.
Possible.
Absolutely.
This footage right here is extremely important because it shows what many have already been thinking. The fact that this police department is corrupt to the core. But as you can see, there
we
are
got some
hours
definitive
upon hours
Oh,
of footage
yeah,
here.
there's
So we're gonna focus
oodles
on
of
the
it.
juicy bits.
Yeah,
The
show
ones
us
that
that
all the
juiciness.
gossip.
Show
There are
us.
some notable things here, you know, a lot of self-incriminating statements, a lot of, well, blatant corruption. One of the first instances where they're talking to him, he'd be asking the cop, hey, you know, would this be a crime you guys can charge him with? Like, does that work?
Harass them. So they're getting them on, I don't know, the gender, but some kind of interruption of commerce. Does that sound like a crime?
Does that sound like a
He
crime?
tries to guilt trip a cop into helping him by using the example of his wife.
Would you be comfortable with this guy coming to your house and bugging your wife?
He's trying to guilt trip him with his
Would you
wife.
like that? No, I wouldn't.
He's not there for your
This brings us to
wife.
the next
He's
batch
there
of
for
footage, and
you,
this is when Joshua is
dickhead.
trying to serve him papers. At this point, he casually asks the officers, "Hey, can you give this guy a stalking charge? You know, just get it over with."
Hold on. All right. What are you wanting done today? Besides, obviously, talk to.
As much as you humanly possibly can.
You want her trespassed?
No. I want him for
He's basically telling the cops what to do
right
here.
Now, you want her trespassed?
Yes. That's all you can do.
Right now, I can screen charges.
He's not even mentioning the fact that he's holding the
Trying
papers.
to serve papers kind of puts me in a little bit of a bind. I understand you have a history with.
They're fake.
I understand you have a history with him.
He's immediately trying to claim they're fake. This dickhole here, he just got off the phone with the court, so he knows that they're real. He knows they're real papers. Like, he was just told, yeah, this is a case currently working through the court. The defendant is waiting to be served, so he's holding the real papers.
So right now, again, I'm open to screening charges through our attorney.
That's what Ammon, the CEO of Bricks and Minifigs, said stalking was. So he sent that to me.
Oh, so now the CEO is getting directly involved.
See, even Ammon is involved, right? He's the one kind of pulling the strings, telling Joshua, "Yo, you can put him on stalking.
Yeah.
This is technically stalking."
CEO is
whatever.
getting
But it's
involved
really
now.
Interesting, this dynamic. I mean, this guy's sitting barefoot.
So, you know,
on
he
the stairs
claimed
talking to
that,
officers as
oh,
if they're
hands are
familiar
tied.
with each other,
Hands
as
are
if they're
out of here.
friends. They probably
But no.
are. They all grew up in the same town.
Also,
They
yeah,
happen to probably go to
the
the
cops
same
are definitely
church.
involved,
This
too.
really does feel like I'm watching this officer talk to someone who is superior to him. Like, hey, what do you want done today? I can do trespassing. I want stalking. Yeah, I can work through that. And mind you, they're talking about the process server here too, the woman that Ben was with, who literally was just there to give him the papers.
Yeah, like,
if you remember too, this officer was the one who had
yeah, this is
taken
like a
these
whole
papers to
ass
serve
criminal organization
Joshua
at this
with,
point.
and then would
Like,
come
for
back
real.
to Ben and say, "Oh, I've never seen papers like this in
Like,
my life. This is fake."
this
Taking
is
Joshua's word for it
absolutely nutty.
before calling the court and confirming that they're real. But then they just end up arresting Ben anyway.
So he called the courts after that, or like what was the order here? Like, let me double back.
Back to Ben and say, "Oh, I've never seen papers like this." To serve papers. If you're trespassing, I want stalking. Yeah, I can work through that.
Like,
and
what
mind
was
you,
the
they're
what was the
talking
process
about
here?
The process server here too, the woman that Ben was with, who literally was just there to give him the papers. If you remember too, this officer was the one who had taken these papers to serve Joshua with, and then would come back to Ben and say, "Oh, I've never seen papers like this in my life. This is fake." Taking Joshua's word for it before calling the court and confirming that they're real.
Okay, so he took the papers, took them to Ben to serve, to Joshua rather, to serve the papers basically took Joshua's word for it, said, yeah, these are fake. This is no scundo. And then went and called the court, got called out on it, being like, yeah, no, this is real. This is real. And he's waiting to be served. And then he just ignored his duty to serve those papers and just went like, nope, I'm just going to arrest this guy instead.
But then they just end up arresting Ben anyway, so who cares, right?
And thank you for the follow, Blissful Con. Welcome to the HQ.
They sent a lady in, and the lady's like, "Oh, I'm gonna murder you," to Amanda, the manager. And Amanda is she's a tough lady.
This never happened, by the way. This
never happened.
No one told Amanda, "Hey, we're gonna murder you." Nothing. No. None
of course, he's just lying at this point. Welcome to the H2, Gamer Mage 2K. Welcome. Thank you for the follow.
States. They were one of our franchisees. They were terminated as a franchisee for violating all sorts of rules. They then fled to Europe somewhere.
Well, I'm happy to see you come around, Gamer Mage.
Trying to deal with this situation. We've been trying to help the person up in Oregon, but because we found out later that they've been all working together to try and force some money out of us. So we've had our attorneys working on it. We've been in contact with the Marion County Sheriff's Department, the Marion County District Attorney.
I'm just sitting here just baffled with like listening to this.
Down here, coming to our corporate offices, and now they're heading to our staff and other individuals' personal residences to just harass and continue to try and extort money out of them.
They're claiming extortion charges here. Oh my god. This whole situation is so fucking dumb. It really is, Gamer Mage. Oh my god. This situation is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. All this over Legos. And
so there's already a case in Provo because they've been passing fraudulent documents up in Oregon.
Well, I'm glad you suggested me.
Forged a manager's signature up there.
I'm always happy to have new faces in here.
All sorts of things. And all of this while he's wearing glasses that have a camera.
Yeah, Gamer Mage. All of this over Legos.
Yeah, he's wearing the glasses. Yeah,
So this was Ammon, the CEO, talking on the phone. So like all the boys are involved together, and what he was saying was definitely a reach.
Yeah, so Ammon previously was already saying that, oh, this is a franchise matter, not a corporate matter. But here is Ammon directly involved in the situation. And here, like, so he's just bullshitting, lying through his teeth. And also, thank you for the follow, Trash Boat. Welcome to the HQ.
He would imply that Crystal, the person who had left the US, right, who used to own the Salem store that went to Europe, fled because she owed money. When in reality, we saw the security cam footage, she was lied to, and she was forced out. They would claim that Brian had hired Ben, and the whole point of this was just to make some money from the $200,000 owed. If that was really the case, then why does the GoFundMe exist?
Yeah, if like
again with this whole lie
if they wanted money, they have the GoFundMe.
All over the place. It's pathetic. Now this right here is probably my favorite clip because you can just see his smug ass sitting on his stairs barefoot talking to the officers, where he says that these documents are fake and that this girl is a fake process server, and the cops just eat it up. They just believe him, you know, even though it's completely illegal for a cop to have papers.
And Ben is a YouTuber, derogatory.
Person whose name is
All right, she's been trespassed.
Hold on, Officer Somebot is back.
Okay, she's been trespassed. Talking with him, he's telling me a different story. Again, I don't know all the specifics of your case. He is very adamant that he wants to serve you.
Look at this smug piece of shit looking like Toothless, being like, oh yeah, there is no case. There is no case. You were in the process of being sued. Like, I don't say this about many people, but genuinely, I hope you lose your home. You deserve to live on the streets for a bit, buddy. I genuinely hope that you lose your home and your wife leaves you to go live with her mother. Like, this guy is the kind of smug asshole who would think he knows how to fight, gets in somebody's face, and gets knocked out. Oh, God.
Okay.
That's fake. That's illegal. You can't pretend to be a process server.
So
no, like
that's illegal.
I've explained to him that
like this.
You don't
like,
want to be served papers. He's got to figure something out. If it's again, I don't know
like,
if there's an
at this point
right now in Oregon.
It's a Class A misdemeanor.
Like
to impersonate a process server.
Okay.
Like she probably carries documentation on her at all times with her identification as a process server, and they go to the car and they identify the papers as legit.
So right now,
I want her arrested for impersonating a process server.
So right now,
this guy is sitting here commanding the cops like he's like a little, like he's their commander.
Whole different route about this.
This guy thinks he has control of the police. Like this is the kind of person they're dealing with.
I can't just go pretend. I can't go print up fake documents and go try to process serve people. That's illegal.
Okay. Have you two been to court before?
No, he can't. No, he's a YouTuber.
Okay, you've never been to court with him.
No.
So these papers that you printed up are
fake. Yes, 1 billion, trillion, gazillion %.
Okay.
So he couldn't double it. So he couldn't double or nothing the lawsuit. But he's a quadrillion % sure that those are fake papers. Even though this cop goes to his car like 2 minutes later and calls up the court, and they're like, "Oh yes, these are real papers. This case is working its way through the court right now, and just waiting on him being served."
Never been to court with him, or
oh my God!
Never been to court.
Oh my God!
YouTuber.
Okay. Well,
YouTuber derogatory. I'm gonna start using that.
And vandalism. Yeah.
Okay. So on your own accord, you guys shut it down.
On my own accord.
Okay.
He can't be right. He's a YouTuber. Yo, this guy wants to sue you and has like a straight up
oh my God
case, and he wants to serve you. He can't do that. He's a YouTuber.
Yeah, you can't sue people if you're a YouTuber. It's the rules.
There really is
it's
some
the
sort
rules.
of power dynamic here, and it's very uncomfortable to watch because it makes you think how many other situations like this exist.
Oh my God, my
across
gut
the
hurts
US
just watching
with
this.
Police, probably quite a few. I mean, this guy straight up has the phone number of police officers, right? Joshua has phone numbers. Look at him calling an officer right here.
His name is Ben Schneider. He's stalking my house. Will you come to my house, please?
He is calling the personal phone numbers
immediately,
of
Ammon had called
police.
Joshua, told him, yo, they're probably on their way. He saw them. He caught a glimpse of them. He maybe knew they were coming. Called the cops' personal phone number. He didn't even call 911, right? And they were there ready at the scene in a bogus traffic stop. This is what we're dealing with here. This isn't a conspiracy. This isn't clickbait. This isn't
oh my God. Like this has to get like some this has to get
reveal to us the extent
federal
of the that has to
involved, right? Please.
This was all bogus. They had a personal relationship with the Airbnb owner. Everyone knows each other in this place, okay? Watch it for yourself. This is just a game to them.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, come here. Do you remember we were doing Hydra with the guy with the deagle?
Huh?
Remember when we did Hydra with the guy with the Desert Eagle?
Yeah.
This is his Airbnb. He's in my truck right now.
Oh, really?
I'm not small. And I told people that. He was like, what the fuck? That's so funny.
Wow. So they know. So already another point of corruption, the fact that the Airbnb they raided, he's personal buddies with the guy who owns the Airbnb.
Detectives are going to have Orem come and look at these guys to see, because they have video surveillance of all their guys. So we'll keep them on ice until we can start stripping resources. But it sounds like the other ships rolled in. They're starting to take calls.
Which is good.
Okay.
We'll make sure everything's cleared up.
God damn, these cops are the dumbest motherfuckers.
Yeah, it was great. And the fact that they were coming out when we were walking up. The main kid had his phone recording, so I shut it off. But
The other kid had a GoPro.
Yeah, these cops are gonna get humbled real quick. They're being like, oh, this kid. Yeah, that kid has a 1.5 million subscriber YouTube channel. You're gonna get famous, buddy. Your entire town's gonna get famous.
Nothing like flexing a relationship with the Airbnb owner. Nothing like calling these people douchebags, even though you're meant to be an unbiased force of the law. These are not police officers. These are henchmen. These are mercenaries.
These are goons, dog. These are goons, and not the fun kind. These are like the freaking popped collar, high turtleneck, pulled down beanie, walking shoulders popped kind of goons. You know, the like let me at 'em boss type goons. These are these type of people. Like for real, 100% dead ass, no cap.
People that they value over others. And speaking of people valuing others, the internet, in all its glory, would find another missing piece of the puzzle. Ammon McNeff wasn't just some random Mormon in Utah. His brother, he has 3 brothers,
hey there,
by the way, 4 sisters,
hey there,
owns a professional law enforcement
welcome to the chat.
Could explain his connection to the
Ammon's brother owns a professional law enforcement training company, and people are speculating this is the connection. So, the brother of the owner of Bricks and Minifigs is basically the guy who runs the training for AFPD.
American Fork PD, right? How they're practically operating like this private army. When people say Mormon Mafia, this is what they mean. And corruption at such a large scale. I mean, people have been throwing around the word RICO, right? Something
this is 100% a RICO violation.
Now, look, this may be a stretch, but the fact that people are thinking of this when they think
this is 100% RICO
and this police force and Ammon says a lot already. But I should mention this, okay, as I always try to in my videos. Just because there's a very bad apple who just so happens to be Mormon doesn't mean all Mormons are bad.
Of course.
Fact, residents that are under the American Fork Police Department are planning to protest them and their corruption after they found out just like the extent of it. And this was discussed on a Mormon podcast. So not all Mormons are bad, okay?
A Mormon podcast.
Shady mafia, okay?
God, look at the shit he's got on.
Dumbass Lego company was enough to destroy their reputation online. This corrupt police force needs to go. But enough talking about the police.
Frankly, why doesn't Lego sue them?
Going back to Bricks and Minifigs, even the employees were starting to go rogue. Here's an employee saying, your local Bricks and Minifigs generates revenue to a corporate bully who weaponizes corrupt police and courts to steal from your local Lego community. Any revenue given to local Bricks and Minifigs stores supports this behavior. Support small businesses, not Bricks and Minifigs.
Absolutely. Support your small businesses.
If you were into Lego, you were aware of Bricks and Minifigs. But now that you're aware of the controversy, no one's going to go back there. Why would you sell your vintage Legos to someone that you know will scam you? And why would you
100%
buy vintage Legos from someone you know that has scammed others and will probably scam you on the price?
Yeah,
too?
fuck these
Ammon
guys.
Could do as much as he wants in terms of damage control. He went on Fox, he went on multiple podcasts, whatever. Nothing's gonna work. He would actually announce on Fox that he was pursuing a lawsuit against Reckless Ben and Brian. But he would offer Brian a way out. If they just sat together and figured it out, he would remove him from the lawsuit. But we'll get to that later. In any case, it didn't make him look better at all. And speaking of things that didn't make him...
Yeah, so now, now that the big man's actually suing them, it doesn't make him look any better. And he's trying to, strong arm it to only sue Ben. Of course. And thank you for the follow, Darkoro Alexander Lyric. Welcome to the HQ.
Look better, the damage control would continue. On June 4th, Bricks and Minifigs would release another blog post on their website titled Bricks and Minifigs Parts Ways with Salem, Oregon franchise owners Brandon Best and Joshua
So they're leaving.
Johnson. They would say that through their investigation, they'd uncover significant evidence of gross negligence. The store was operated by the prior owner, as well as operational gaps during the transition and the subsequent management of document recovery. They also announced that they had reached out to Brian Mansell and his family to meet, to review documentation, and to come up with a mutual and positive resolution. However, they would want to yet again specify that the $200,000 figure was not accurate. This was at most $100,000 in total.
Of course, they're trying to really downplay it.
You guys are taking a step in the right direction.
Of course they are.
Right after all this, but did it really take tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of views from different content creators to finally make you do this? Really? Like, for example, everyone knows that PayPal sucks ass. There are people
most
out there who
certainly.
have maybe $10,000 in PayPal that can't even access their funds and can't speak to a single human. But we've seen this happen before, where a content creator makes a tweet, it goes viral, and then within like 24 hours, PayPal's like, yo, here's your money back, you know?
Yeah, it's like, hey, yo, let me dap you up real quick. You know, just light them up on Twitter, and they're just wanting to get right into your DMs, just fix that right up. That's usually how it goes. It's usually how it goes.
No problem. Sorry. Apologies. It's like if virality is the only
Yeah,
way
we
the
good
issue
slime.
solved, then why would I ever trust?
No, we're not good
And
slime.
Speaking of trust, well, as you might have guessed already, since they always take care of each other, someone would uncover this. When Bricks and Minifigs said they parted ways with Brandon Best about the Salem, Oregon store, they forgot to mention that Brandon owns a second store in Eugene, Oregon. Here's the paperwork proving it. Seeing that Brandon was just as culpable here as Joshua, and seeing that he was guilty of bullying, like whenever they wanted to get rid of a franchisee, they would just send him. This showed that Bricks and Minifigs,
they're just
made that
moving
statement
him
just to try and save face, just to try and do
God.
some damage control. They didn't actually want to get rid of Brandon.
Of course
And if you actually
not.
look at this piece of paperwork here that shows that he's an owner, you can see that there was someone before him that is withdrawing. Brandon is new. So it doesn't take a genius to understand this is the same situation.
They're just moving him
Someone
around.
owned it, for whatever reason wanted to leave, got intimidated, kicked out. Brandon comes in, takes over, rinse and repeat.
Like Brandon is just,
friends,
like Brandon is just like,
they were lifelong friends. And
yeah,
Joshua
obviously.
actually served side by side alongside Ammon McNeff as Mormon missionaries.
Oh, it goes real deep. Oh, it goes real deep.
Look, you can see this in a newspaper article from 2004.
That's
God knows who
literally
the hell
them.
covered this.
Yeah, look, on the left picture, Elder Ammon McNeil leads prayer for a safe ride and successful day of ministry with Elder Joshua Johnson. It's literally them right there. They are buddies. It is that deep. This is that
But
deep.
It's real. Do you really think Ammon's going to get rid of Joshua? Do you really think he's going to be like, you know what, for the sake of this company, you should go? No.
No, they're not
Even
going
as
to.
Direct suppliers like Minifigs.me would end all relationships with Bricks and Minifigs, they still didn't care, all right? Even their damage control was lackluster. Even their damage control was doing nothing but make it worse for them. They were getting review bombed, and even the police station involved in this was getting review bombed too, although those reviews are being removed. Regardless, the damage
The
had been done.
police
This was
officers
something
are getting
unbelievable.
review
A
bombed.
$400 million company. Its reputation in the gutter because they just couldn't figure out a solution. They were just ghosting someone who was genuinely concerned about the life savings of his dad. Bricks and Minifigs had essentially completely and entirely lost.
Imagine
in the court of
imploding
public opinion.
this
But
bad.
They were not planning on losing in the court of, well, in the legal court, in the court of law. They were doubling, or
Really?
at this point, tripling down.
They
on
don't
it,
think they're going to
and things
lose
will
in court.
potentially get very nasty for Ben and anyone involved. Here are the legal repercussions.
Oh, yeah?
So as I mentioned earlier, when Ammon went on Fox, he would mention that he was suing Ben and everyone else that was involved. Bricks and Minifigs was suing for defamation, disparagement, civil conspiracy, stalking, trespassing, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. That's a pretty extensive list, and that is, I'm pretty sure, separate from the arrest warrant in which Ben is also being sued for stalking.
Thank you for the follow, Flesh Valley Art.
So the guy was racking up
Maro,
a
welcome to the
whole lot of
HQ.
legal problems while he's out here chilling in Mexico. But when I said that Bricks and Minifigs was going to play dirty, I didn't just say that for the sake of saying it. I meant it. They'd understand that a huge portion of Reckless Ben's income, in fact, at this point, I'd say the majority of his income, comes from Patreon because he posts his content here first before YouTube. So, Bricks and Minifigs would send a takedown notification to Patreon telling them, please take down Ben's page immediately. Now look, I'm gonna be
Really?
completely
Do
honest
they
with
think
you.
that's going to work?
If this were to happen to anyone else, Patreon would have obliged, okay? I don't care. This could be someone who does charity. This could be someone who literally aids starving children on the daily. They would have taken down the page. They're not going to deal with the legal bullshit, okay? But in this case, Patreon saw a massive opportunity. They understood the situation and they felt, you know what? We could make bank on this. And they did.
Oh?
The CEO of Patreon would make a video saying, thanks, but no thanks. He'd essentially be telling Bricks and Minifigs, go fuck yourself. Like, I don't care that you sent this notice. We're not going to do it. This was the easiest W he could ever ask for.
Based
right?
Patreon.
How big the
Based
Patreon.
Patreon.
I mean, now you do, okay? This prompted a CEO response because he knew that doing so would garner him 99.99% positive PR. That's just how much the situation was turning against.
Well, I'm happy to have you here, Flesh Valley Art.
At the same time,
I'm always happy to have you stream in the Discord on YouTube.
Their pages get taken down for no
I
reason,
love seeing
just
people
like
from
PayPal.
YouTube coming over
What else is
here.
happening, even though Bricks and Minifigs trying to
Also, yeah, this Patreon CEO is the GOAT.
Life of Ben and everyone else that was involved here. Did they really stand a chance? I mean, come on. You watched this video so far, okay? I know it's been a while.
Absolutely.
You've watched this whole video so far. It's obvious to anyone with a pair of eyes and ears that they're in the wrong, right? They're not gonna win
Obviously.
in court, right? Well, look, as I said, these guys play dirty, really dirty. And Ammon, the CEO, is no exception. In fact, if you look at his LinkedIn job history, you'd see that before acquiring Bricks and Minifigs, he actually used to work at a company called Legally Mine LLC. Now, look, Legally Mine actually has been through some controversy of its own. This is an
of
asset
course it
protection
is.
firm, and back during February 2025, it would be found to have been engaged in the unauthorized practice of law in Ohio. by the
Everything
Supreme
he
Court in Ohio.
touches.
They were providing legal advice.
Everything
in a place
he
where they weren't
touches.
allowed to providing legal advice. So they've already been through the ringer legally. They know what they can get away with, and now they know what they can't get away with. So here's the deal. On June 4th, they would create a new LLC, a new company in Oregon at the address of the Bricks and Minifig store in Eugene that is still ran by Brandon Best and also now Joshua Johnson. According to this account, this is a legal tactic. An LLC that dissolves cannot be the target of discovery to ascertain what the LLC did with the Mansell collection. So the Star Wars figurines. This is a circle. The wagons moved from the founders of Legally Mine LLC. So look, how accurate is this? Somewhat accurate to a certain extent. The name of Ammon McNeff, the CEO, is on so many company registries, you could probably make an encyclopedia book out of it. So they've used this tactic before. They know what they're doing, okay? If they screw up in an LLC and it closes somehow before a lawsuit, the history of that LLC cannot be used in court in discovery. And discovery is usually when you discover, well, all the things.
How does that make
opponent has
sense?
done. In fact, here's something interesting. Reckless Ben, when he sued these people in small claims court with the 10 different lawsuits that amount to $100,000, the court would notify him that he had sued the wrong LLC. There was just so many different LLCs that, yeah, he got screwed over. They were able to close the store before he could file a new lawsuit to the correct LLC. So now he's
Jesus
suing
Christ.
both Joshua and Brandon personally as individuals. But that doesn't mean it'll be any easier either. Look, the channel Legal Eagle made a video titled "Everybody's Wrong About the Bricks and Minifigs Case." He pretty much talks about how it's really messy. Like technically, based on the contract, there should have been insurance on these Star Wars Lego sets. In an ideal world, okay, in an ideal world of adults, as soon as they would have noticed that there was missing Legos, they should have gotten insurance for those Legos, right? They should have gotten a payout and given them money.
Absolutely.
To Brian. That's it. End of the story. But of course, they didn't. Legal Eagle also does confirm the fact that yes, this consignment is transferable to whoever owns the store. But even with those things in mind, the fact that it had gotten this far deep into not finding a resolution makes things a bit more complicated, especially with all the events that have already
no
occurred.
shot.
So overall, you walk away from this 50-minute video thinking, yes, this is way more complicated than it actually is. Based on many different factors and based on state law and based on how a civil suit goes in an unpredictable fashion, you don't know exactly who's wrong here. Whether it be Joshua and Brandon, whether it be Bricks and Minifigs Corporate, but one thing is for certain, what happened to Brian was wrong. But how are you going to prove that? Through litigation? It'll be so expensive that even if those Legos were worth $200,000, you're barely going to keep any of that money anyway.
Yeah, the fact that, like, even if you win in court, the fact that you're probably going to be paying more than what they're worth in just legal fees alone is so bullshit, dog.
That's where it gets
for
very,
real.
very tricky. But speaking of tricky, this is just talking about Brian, okay? And Brian is fully in the right here. When it comes to Ben, that's an entirely different story. And Legal Eagle does throw a bit of shade, jokingly, at Ben for doing things on his own. indicating that whatever's going to happen in his lawsuit is going to be way more complex than anything involving these Legos.
Oh.
And of course, he wasn't wrong. I wanted to end this video on a good note, saying that, hey, regardless of all these events, at least Ben was able to raise over $400,000 for
Hell
Brian
yeah.
and his family.
I'm
But
glad
on
Brian
June
got
9th,
paid.
Everything would
Did
take
he?
a turn for the worse.
Oh.
The GoFundMe
Okay.
would be taken down. And
Oh.
the lawsuit of Bricks and Minifigs versus Reckless Ben, the thing they were suing him with, would go live. Additionally, you'd have Brian included in this too. So this whole empathetic act of Ammon getting on Fox News and saying, oh, Brian, we can figure things out, I'll remove your name from the lawsuit, that was all bullshit. What's even crazier here is that this complaint, this lawsuit, has 10 causes of action, which makes it a Utah RICO. This is what I mentioned earlier in the video. A RICO was something created to take down a mafia, and yet they were using this to try and take down a YouTuber who was helping someone get his Legos back.
He's trying to hit a YouTuber with RICO.
They'd want to charge him with
Christ.
defamation, injurious falsehood, civil conspiracy, tortious interference with existing and prospective economic relations, civil stalking, public and private nuisance, trespass, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Additionally, what's crazy here is that the judge seems to be as corrupt as possible. He would allow Bricks and Minifigs to serve Ben through email. This is something that Bricks and Minifigs had asked for specifically, and he had granted them that motion. This doesn't happen every day. This means that Ben cannot avoid this. He received the email. And what's absurd here is that there's a gag order that would get placed on Ben. He cannot speak on Bricks and Minifigs anymore, and although he was planning to release part 3 of his video series on Tuesday, the 9th of June, he wasn't able to. The judge would argue that Ben will suffer no legitimate harm if he can't upload anymore on YouTube. Make that make sense to me. Yeah, some guy will suffer no legitimate harm if he can't do his full-time job? Seriously? This is why many believe already that this judge is bought and paid for by Bricks and Minifigs.
Damn.
They also, of course, mentioned that he's most likely Mormon.
Of
Ben
course.
announced this on his YouTube channel on the 9th of
He
June, the day he was meant to upload episodes
undoubtedly.
to his Patreon, and pretty much tell everyone that he just can't do anything anymore. He's completely silenced. He just has to go through with this lawsuit and hope for the best. The thing that's worrying everyone is the fact that he still hasn't retained a lawyer. He still doesn't have a lawyer to officially represent him. And when it comes to GoFundMe, it wasn't Reckless Ben's decision to take it down. It was GoFundMe that took it down. He'd make a post saying they took down Brian's GoFundMe, sad face, I wish I could talk about it, but I'll go to jail if I do.
Yeah, GoFundMe's complicit in this. Honestly, go make it on Indiegogo instead. Go make the crowdfunding on Indiegogo instead. They are far more loose. Why do you think all like the asset flip video game scammers go to Indiegogo? It's because there's like next to no regulation on that site. They do not care what you put up on Indiegogo. They will take any crowdfunding on that website.
Because of the gag order, right? Actually, you know what? Don't worry, because this roller coaster just keeps going up and down like every single day. The GoFundMe page is back.
Okay.
Reckless Ben would confirm this in a post one day after it was taken down on June 10th and would say, maybe someday I'll be allowed to talk about what's going on behind the scenes. It's crazy. So again, he can't talk because of the ongoing lawsuit, but one can assume that Bricks and Minifigs sent a letter to GoFundMe very similar to the one that they had sent to Patreon. And now GoFundMe's like, nope, we're not going to do that. That's how far they're willing to go. They want to attack
this
GoFundMe
company.
Money.
This company needs to get taken down.
That this is for damages, the damages you caused to our
This
business.
company needs to be ruined.
Pathetically disgusting. But what isn't disgusting is the fact that citizens of this area are now in the American Fork City Council demanding accountability and saying that they've been living in fear of retaliation after seeing what their police, you know, the American Fork Police Department, was willing to do to cover for Bricks and Minifigs, a corporation. I can't imagine what it's like to be a citizen there and witnessing these things. Like my own police force, the ones that are meant to protect me, will throw me under the bus just because of a corporation?
Jesus Christ, dog.
Look, I want to be optimistic here, and I really wish Ben the best, but it's not looking good at all right now. Even if you were to get an amazing team of lawyers, a case like this is not going to end in a week, okay? This is going to take a very long time. In the meantime,
yeah, this is going to be in the courts for years.
Like that people stand up for Ben.
Like the sheer amount of evidence that's going to be going through the court system. This is case. I don't see this case ending until like earliest 2028. Like for real, with like how slow matters like this move throughout the courts. Like 2027 if we're being generous, 2028 if we're being realistic, 2029 if they really want to make it hurt.
And make Bricks and Minifigs understand that they fucked up big time. This is a $400 million company who could have solved this overnight if they wanted to by doing the right thing, and instead, even though they have millions of eyeballs on them, they still decide to go with the route of bullying the smaller man.
Oh,
So
of
for the
course,
sake of justice,
naturally,
for the sake of
as they
anyone
would.
out there that gets wronged by a bigger corporation, let's hope that he can make it through this and come out as the winner. Thank
Fingers
you so
crossed.
much for watching until the end.
We can only hope.
I really appreciate it, especially with how long this video is.
Oh,
God damn.
absolutely.
If you wanna see
You
more
always
content from me,
like
then definitely
Mugen, don't feel bad about posting long videos. You're well researched. You're doing your job. This is what you do, dog.
check out my stacked.com.
Yeah, of course.
It's like
Check out his
Patreon, but
Stacked.
better.
Check out
Prices
his
start
Stacked.
at $1. I love you so much.
Support Mugen.
And I will see you in the next video.
Support Mugen.
Whenever.
Support Papa Mugen here.
Take care. Mwah.
I swear to God, you have my word. Actually, you know what? Sue me, pussy. Fuck you. Yeah, so this company needs to go. I think we're all in agreement, right? Like, Ben was pretty wild with how he handled this whole case in YouTube and all that, but like, this company has to go. Like, we see very clear police corruption in all of those leaked body cams. The people at the town like council meeting are pissed off because they recognize the police defending a corpo over citizens. Like, we see what's going on, right? Anybody with two eyes can see what's going on. This company needs to go. And I hope that all the best for Ben and Brian's lawsuit. I hope that this company gets taken down. I hope they go bankrupt. I hope all of them are eating out of soup bowls in the soup kitchen, eating them gruel or something. They're not going to, of course. They have money. They're not going to do that. Like, they're like the rich CEO from Monsters Inc. They won't, like, they'll let 1,000 children die before they let this company go under. God, Jesus, these people. Oh, let me know what you think should happen to this company down in the comments below. And of course, do not forget to hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and ding the bell so you know when I upload, and it helps me out in the algorithm. And as always, I will see you next time at the HQ. Bye-bye.